Football night in the city of Riverside, a special Thursday night edition from here at the California School of the Deaf in Riverside. The Cubs, coming off their appearance last year in the CIF final, take on Desert Chapel in a key Tri-County Premier matchup. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham and Alpin Givens, to bring you the action here from the California School of the Deaf in the city of Riverside. Jeff, very special opportunity here for the Cubs and also for the Desert Chapel squad.
Hey, it is unfinished business for California School for the Deaf Riverside. They're remembering that loss in the CIF championship last year, and they are all about business, but they have to go and take care of Desert Chapel, who's also undefeated. It's going to be a great one.
Two undefeated teams, as you mentioned. The Cubs come in 7-0. Desert Chapel, the Eagles, come in at 6-0. Jeff, these two teams met last year. It was the Cubs 78-18, rather resounding victory for them. You know the Eagles have payback on their minds.
Well, they have to. I mean, the only way you're going to get to the championship is by beating the best. And right now the Cubs are playing high-caliber football. The Adams brothers, they are doing a phenomenal job. You've got Valencia on the outside. They are going to cause some problems for this Desert Chapel team.
Potential de facto league championship game here tonight in the city of Riverside. It's the Cubs and the Eagles up next. The CIF on Riverside TV.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. Please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train.
Hey guys, we're here with Cubs head coach Keith Adams, getting ready to take on Desert Chapel here for what appears to be first place in the league title on the line. Coach, looking at this Desert Chapel team, I know they're undefeated, but what makes them such a tough opponent tonight?
Well, their size, they got a big line, their running back's big, so they sweep the ball, they run around the corners. So if our defense can't stop them, we got a problem tonight.
Coach, I know it's senior night, so it's extra special for you guys tonight, but you also have an undefeated season going on right now. How important is it for you guys to win a league title, stay undefeated, and celebrate these seniors with a big win tonight?
Yeah, very important. If we win, we're league champs tonight. It's big for the seniors. We got 10 seniors on this team. We got one player who broke his leg, so he won't be here tonight. So it's big for the seniors. I've known a lot of them since middle school, seen them grow up, and they're going to be sorely missed. So senior night, definitely.
That's awesome. That's CSDR head coach Keith Adams here, breaking down their matchup with the Desert Chapel Eagles tonight on Riverside TV. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, back to you.
Well, thanks, Pep Fernandez. He's the third member of the broadcast team tonight. Ghazal Hassan back with you, along with Jeff Gorham, and a very special evening. Obviously, everybody knows about California School for the Deaf Riverside, Jeff. They had that great run last year, but they've picked up right where they left off, Jeff. They've won 19 of 20 games, 8-man football, but that's impressive in any league, the run they've been on, 7-0, and as Pep and Coach Adams mentioned, de facto league championship game tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Adams has done a phenomenal job during his tenure here at CSDR. You know, it's great when you can have a team, you catch lightning in a bottle, and what a great story to have CSDR have one of the best deaf programs in the entire country, if not the best. And they're taking this entire CIF by storm last year, but I think this year, like Coach said earlier in the season, it's all about unfinished business with the Cubs of CSDR.
These teams met last year, as we talked about, 78-18 in favor of CSDR, but Desert Chapel coming in, Jeff. They averaged nearly 53 points per game. They're 6-0, 2-0 in league. To top that, CSDR averaging 63 points per game, 375 yards on their offense. They mentioned they're missing a key component of their team. Flex Gonzalez not going to be able to play tonight, the senior with the broken leg, but they're going to have somebody step right up for him. They're going to have Gio Visco step up on the offensive side and Lika Visco step in for him on the defensive side.
Well, it's the next man up, especially if you're a CIF championship caliber program like CSDR is right now. It's all about stepping in and doing your job, and this is going to be a great one tonight. especially with Desert Chapel thinking of that loss last year.
Couple of nuances on this game. Obviously, it's 8-man football, so 8 men aside. It's a 3-man offensive line, and they'll need to have 5 men on the line of scrimmage at the time the ball snapped. 40-yard field, so the midfield stripe, there's not a misprint. You're not kind of seeing things on the screen. It is indeed 40 yards, and it looks like Desert Chapel will tee it up, and they'll kick it away. Riley Ladon will kick it away for Desert Chapel. Back deep to receive for CSDR is Gio Visco, the freshman. So here's the kickoff, and we're underway. Visco will field the ball, and it'll be a touchback.
And one thing you will see a lot in 8-man football is they don't usually kick the football quite at all. If they do, it's rare. They rarely punt. They try to go for it. That's why the scores are always so high. It's a lot like arena football back in the day with Kurt Warner was throwing all those touchdowns and averaging about 70 points per ball game.
For the Iowa Barnstormers, no less.
Kurt Warner, a big proponent and loves CSDR. Came out here earlier this season and gave a pep talk after one of their victories. So it's great to see Kurt Warner giving back to CSDR.
Trevin Adams out of the shotgun. He'll swing it out to the near side, complete to Visco. This is Gio Visco up 5 over the 20, down to the 35-yard line. So a 15-yard pickup on the play. Now, I apologize. We're kind of at a weird spot. I can't read the numbers as readily, so you have to bear with me. We'll do our best, Jeff and I. It's almost like calling a game from ground level here. So, I guess the touchback comes out to the 10, and the 15-yard gain has them out to the 25. So 1st and 10 from the 25, from the gun. Here we go. 3 receivers in the formation. Back to throw Adams. Steps up. He's going to throw down the field. Nearly picked off. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Jory Valencia. Stepping in up and making the play. Christian Gooding, the sophomore, for Desert Chapel. Bring up 2nd and 10. Head coach at Desert Chapel, Jeff, David DeWoody, and he's a longtime presence out here in the Riverside area. He's also a longtime presence in 8-man football. In fact, he's won 5 8-man titles over the course of his coaching career. He also started the Indian Springs program back in 2012. That was an 11-man program.
He's the John Wooden of 8-man football, for gosh sakes. That's a great record.
2nd and 10, line is the 25.
It's a Riverside Christian coach. I remember him for many years.
He won 3 CIF titles, and swing pass out of the backfield to Caden Adams. Adams up over the 30, and he'll step out of bounds up to the 32-yard line. He'll bring up a 3rd down and manageable. 3rd and about 3.5.
And we're going to be calling Adams to Adams quite a bit tonight there, Gazal. And looking around the city of Riverside, there are so many coaches that are coaching their sons. Got
John Rice
over at Riverside.
Ken Mashinsky.
This is really, really cool to see coaches and their sons doing such great things here in the city of Riverside.
So from the 31, it's a 3rd down and 4. Adams back to throw. He's got time. He'll step up, and he'll launch the ball down the field. How about that? And it's complete to Visco at the 20, 15-10, and finally it'll be wrestled down inside the 10 at about the 9-yard line. Making the tackle down the field, Jeremy Landeros for Desert Chapel.
And you're going to look at some of these numbers that these guys will get. I mean, they're basically video game numbers. It's like playing John Madden.
35-yard pickup brings the ball inside the 10 to the 9, so a 1st and goal for California School of the Deaf. Looking back to the sideline, you see the 3-man line there, and there are 5 men on the line of scrimmage. So, in essence, a center and 2 tackles. Trevin Adams hand the balls off to his brother. No, he'll keep it on the RPO. He'll swing to the outside to the 5 to the goal line. Touchdown, Cubs. So right down the field they go. The touchback out to the 10-yard line, and they drive the remaining 70 yards in about 4 plays. And we mentioned how potent the offense is. They average 375 yards a game, 63 points. In a 9-yard touchdown run with 10:32 to play in the first quarter.
Well, they definitely These games will sound like a basketball score when we're done. But Adams, one of those quarterbacks who's so versatile, can throw the football a mile, and so strong at running the ball. I mean, he's like a running back quarterback here. He's just a phenomenal athlete for the Cubs.
They're going to go for 2 here. Another RPO. He'll fling it out to his brother, Caden. Caden efforting through the tackle, and he's in for the 2-point conversion. So 8-0 in favor of the Cubs, and looks like Caden Adams a little bit shook up. He'll sit up, kind of grabbing that shoulder, that arm area. Had to come through a tackle, and now his teammate Valencia will help him up. And it's 8-0, an early drive. They take the opening kickoff, Jeff, and they punctuate with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Nice. Looks like you got a stinger there. That's never a good feel, as Dad's got to be a dad right there. He just says, hey, go to the trainer. We'll take care of you, bud.
So kickoff coming up. They'll kick to Desert Chapel. Desert Chapel, Jeff, have been pretty impressive on the season. We mentioned they're undefeated, coming in off consecutive wins. Here's the scores, their last 3 wins, Jeff. 58-0, 79-0, and 43-6. How about that?
That's outscoring your opponents.
They've scored 317 points on the year, have the Eagles, and they've allowed just 52 points.
Holy smokes. Now we're going to get the chance to look at the Eagles.
Check that. They've allowed 34 points on the season.
Oh.
34. That was including last year's 18 points, that 18 points, 17-8-18. Of course, that was against them when they played CSDR. And so the Cubs, in front of the Senior Day crowd, they're on top. And here's the kickoff. Now, you notice they'll kick off from the 30. It's an 80-yard field. Deep kickoff back to the 5-yard line, fielded it around the 5, and tackled right there. Nice play. Jory Valenzuela gets down the field for CSDR. Fielding the kickoff looks like Blake Shepler for Desert Chapel.
Nice to have a football game at night here at CSDR. You know, normally they play at 4 o'clock, so a nice night game here in the city of Riverside. Big time tackle there. That's WWE style right there.
Yeah, Jory Valencia, and you'll notice a lot of these players on both squads have to play both ways. So they'll line it up from the 5-yard line. Will the Eagles? Little tight formation. Now they run the football. They have a couple of different guys who handle it. And here's Riley Ledane, the senior captain, twists up over to about the 10-yard line for a 5-yard pickup. 2nd and 5 coming up.
A little double tight. So Desert Chapel's going to keep it on the ground. Those two pretty much opposite teams. The CSDR will go to the ground, but, man, they will fling it through the air.
Just 16 members listed on the Desert Chapel roster. 27 for CSDR. So it is really Ironman football. Here's the give to the big fella, Christian Gooding. Gooding over the left side. He'll be pushed back. In there, Cody Metzner, the senior for CSDR, leading the charge.
But, hey, if you were a high school kid, wouldn't you love playing for either one of these programs? Because, you get to play the whole game, and you're exhausted when you're done.
I mean, it's a different style. You know, we talked to Pep before the game, and when he was up in Bakersfield, when he was working for the TV station up in Bakersfield, he covered a lot of 8-man football. It was very popular in the Bakersfield area, and then out, if you go down to San Diego, some of those smaller private schools, a lot of them play 8-man football. In fact, Rashaan Salam, who won the Heisman Trophy at Colorado, kind of came up through the ranks playing 8-man football. 3rd down coming up. Here's the give. Ledane around the left side, up over the 15-yard line. He should have the first down. And the sticks will move up for the Eagles of Desert Chapel. Head coach, I mentioned David DeWoody, won 2 CIF titles up in Downey when he coached Ambassador. That was 74-75. Then he was at Riverside Christian for nearly 20 years, won 3 league titles, 96, 2002, 2003. Took over Desert Chapel a couple years ago. Gooding fakes the handoff. The second man through, surges up close to the 20-yard line.
Double wing action. Maybe all the years of being in Riverside, he must have hung out with the old ferryman, Ken Batdorf.
Now, we don't have a number 1 listed for us, so hopefully Pep will give us that name. But Gooding with the handoff to the big fella, jumping off inside. There were a couple of guys on the roster for Desert Chapel who haven't played a whole lot. I'm guessing there might be some injury situation going on there, so they may have switched up in terms of their jersey numbers. 8-0 in favor of CSDR. Another give on the ground. This is Ledane. Riley Ledane, the senior captain, came in averaging nearly 8 yards a carry. He has 9 touchdowns on the year on the ground. Jordan Jensen, one of the big boys up front blocking for him. Jensen, a sophomore.
You have some big guys. Desert Chapel, the Eagles.
Checking in with the defense for CSDR. Christian Jimenez, number 87, the big senior. We see the quarterback, Trevin Adams, also playing in a timeout on the field. Big number 77, Alfredo Baltazar, one of the linemen. One of their key outside linebackers, Ricardo Terrazas. He's also a senior. Senior day today here. There's a look at Keith Adams, kind of preparing his team. Clapping his hands, and he's definitely a guy. He signs pretty loudly. Joe.
Yes, he does. We had a chance to talk to him a little bit before the game. I asked if I could trade my children with him because he has such great young men. And, I'm a father of 3 boys, and just to see the interaction with he and his sons and the teammates, those are the kind of kids you want. And great leaders, good kids, smart.
To make you want to coach again?
No. Somebody asked me that today.
I knew the answer. I know that you love doing what you do, and you love spending time with your boys, and you're okay letting somebody else coach you.
Yes, I see now I can go to games, and I don't lose. I don't win. Actually, I win because I feel when I go home, I always feel great watching our local high school and college kids playing. I remember my dad used to bring me to these games when I was a kid. They used to use a drum to call in the plays. It was very, very cool. They have since changed that, but yeah, my late father used to bring me to CSDR games as a kid quite a bit. We used to play Little League football and baseball with these guys.
3rd and 6. Here's the option. Ledane with the pitch to the outside, and down he goes. Valencia there for the hit. Also joining him is Mentzner.
Yeah, I tell everybody when I was playing over at Our Lady of Perpetual Help down the street, the Catholic school, they were in our Catholic Little League, and they would beat us, just drill us. They beat us in flag football. They beat us in baseball. I hated coming over to the CSDR and just getting crushed. Good times. We always had the orange wedges after the game. We would hang out with the other team. It was fun times as a young boy in the city of Riverside.
And here's the quick kick on 4th down. They'll let it bounce, and it'll take a CSDR bounce and be down at the 36-yard line. So not much on the punt, probably about 15 yards after all is said and done, and great field position for the Cubs, who lead this one 8-0. So, you know me, I'm kind of in my own world. I don't watch a lot of corporate news and stuff, and I knew this was a big story just because, in Riverside off social media, a lot of people talking to us about it last year, but I had no idea the level. These guys are on the Kelly Clarkson show. These guys, I saw them at the Super Bowl. They got to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they were a national story on ESPN. They're making a movie about last season.
And I already said who's going to play me in the movie.
Who?
Brad Pitt. Who's going to play you? Who would play you in a movie?
Who would play me? Who would I want to play me in a movie?
Yes.
De Niro, of course, but it's not going to be Robert De Niro. They'll probably get he just had a new special out on Netflix. They'll probably get Hassan Minhaj to play me. As long as it's not that Kumail Nanjiani, I'm okay.
Okay, we'll make sure of that.
Here's the run up the middle for CSDR, carrying the ball for the Cubs. Richard Terrazas, the senior. Ledane brings him down.
I think it's going to be a Disney movie, too.
Yeah, Disney movie. It was great. Reading the article about it, it was fantastic. It's a great story. 2nd down and 4. Adams gives to Terrazas, and he gets a couple more. Tackle on the play by the big fella, Aaron Eldon. He's a junior, 6'1", 270-pounder for Desert Chapel. Again, de facto championship game for the Tri-County Premier League. Both teams undefeated. Desert Chapel comes in 6-0, 2-0 in league. The Cubs come in 7-0 and 2-0 in league. Key player missing for the Cubs, Flex Gonzalez, the senior tailback. So 3 receivers in the formation. Big third down play coming up. Rolling right. Adams throws it complete. First down. Scooping it up. Nice catch at the end of that play by Gio Visco. He's just a freshman, Jeff.
And they're cousins out there, right? They're the two.
Gio is Gio's cousin. Lika plays on defense.
What a good catch! I mean, he got it right at his.
Watch Terrazas there. Does a nice job, kind of stock blocking a little bit, making sure his quarterback is protected. And obviously, a lot of different strategies in terms of you're playing 8-on-8. It's a little bit different. From the 22, play action. He's going for it all. Down the field, and it's a touchdown. Reeling it in is Jory Valencia, one of the other captains for the Cubs, and it's a touchdown CSDR. 22-yard strike from Adams to Valencia.
I don't know if you listened to the last broadcast we had. There are about 1,000 Valencias that have come through here at CSDR over the years. In fact, I'll tell you what, some of the best athletes I have ever seen, Noah Valencia, who plays professional basketball over in Poland, had a nice, have been reaching out to him the last couple of weeks, so I'm sure he's watching. So great to see him doing so well overseas.
2-point conversion. Adams on the option. He's going to go for the pylon, and he's in. 2-point conversion is good. 16-0 Cubs, who've come out and announced their presence with some authority here early in the game, Jeff.
And that's what they do. They just can put the ball in the end zone, and they play great defense. They do it all here for CSDR.
Look at that drive. They get the ball after the punt, and here's the touchdown. One-on-one coverage in the corner of the end zone. And you're right. It's like you're playing on a shorter field. You're playing on an 80-yard field, and I think the width is a little bit smaller too, Jeff. And they just do a great job in terms of spreading the field with the 8 men, kind of, the proportion of the field. A little bit different than you would with 11. 16-0. Kickoff coming up here for the Cubs. Would love to see them make another run, Jeff.
Yeah, Noah Valencia playing over in, let's see here, he's playing over in Poland. Having a great season over there. So hello, Noah Valencia. We're going to get him on the coach's perspective the next time we have CSDR later on this season.
Richard Rios with the kickoff for CSDR.
His dad, the great athletic director here at CSDR as well. But yeah, growing up playing basketball, those guys were in every gym in Riverside. I thought I was a gym rat. But look at there's the comparisons here. And that is some serious differences. Passing yards per game, is that right? 6 points?
Yeah, I think the point. See, the Desert Chapel Eagles, they're incomplete. They're actually averaging 53 points a game this year, not 37. But what's interesting is you can extrapolate that out over a 100-yard field, right? So you're adding 20%. So it's 375 yards. You can add another 75 yards on it if you're playing on a 100-yard field from a portion standpoint. And they'll re-kick. So Rios will re-kick it. The return from the 10-yard line all the way up near midfield. It's about a 28-yard return and good field position coming up. I believe that was Jacob Correas, the senior, bringing it back for Desert Chapel. Comes into the game averaging nearly 7 yards a pop 42 rushes and 295 yards. Also averages about 20 yards per kick return. So 4:44 to play. The Cubs with the early lead here. Can Desert Chapel bounce back here, muster a little bit of resistance in the first quarter?
They're going to have to do something because CSDR, when they get the football, they are looking to just go. Let's see if Desert Chapel can connect here.
1st and 10. Line is the 47. The handoff to Correas, and down he goes. Runs right into the arms of big Christian Jimenez, the senior, for CSDR. 2nd down coming up. Clock continues to move. 16-0 Cubs.
And the Cubs putting, I'm going to say this, 8 men in the box. Of 8 men.
I mean, that's all they do. Desert Chapel really runs the football. They're a run team.
I almost said 11 guys in the box, but that would have been 3 guys sitting on the bench over there.
So, we just did Norte Vista, and probably if Ken Batdorf is watching, he's probably fallen in love right now watching that really tight set that Chapel runs out of. Option, Ledane will take it to the outside. Nice job there by Jimenez, and finally a little bit of love tap at the end of the run by Corey Metzner.
Now this is a big 3rd down, Gazal. I mean, they've got to get something going here offensively. They are on the right side of the 40-yard line, in their own territory, but it's so close. I mean, you almost have to go for it in a 4th down situation.
Right.
With such a short field.
I think I said 47. It's obviously the 37-yard line. Look, Jimenez kind of holds his position and allows Metzner to come over and make the play. Also rolling out there was Jory Valencia.
I will say this. Both teams have great uniforms. Great uniforms.
Classic. Both a classic look.
I love the helmets. Both teams have great helmets. In fact, we have a CSDR helmet. Oh, they're going to the spread.
Here we go. The A11.
I love it.
You call it the A8 formation.
This is
here.
great. Look at this.
3rd and 7. Back to Ledane. Here comes the pressure from Figueroa. Ledane will run it. He'll get the 1st down and more. They run out of that formation. He'll go all the way down inside the 20-yard line, down to about the 18-yard line. 25-yard pickup on the run by Riley Ledane, the senior captain for Desert Chapel, and will move the sticks. They'll have 1st and 10 from the CSDR 18. Here we go. Figueroa had the chance there, and once he gets by Figueroa, good blocking downfield, a nice block down the field there by Correas for Desert Chapel.
If it works, don't change it. Let's see if they continue that, going the one-on-one. They're going to go back to smash mouth here.
Coach Adams did say, hey, they got a big line. They have some big players up front, and they'll run out of that same formation. Flag comes in. I didn't realize they had flags at 8-man football, Jeff. You told me there would be no flags.
I was hoping there wouldn't be.
So,
I'm not a fan of the flag.
So dead ball foul, and that's against CSDR. So the ball moves down to the 15-yard line. Getting to the end of the first quarter here, will make it a 1st and 5. Desert Chapel coming off a 43-6 win against Cavalry Chapel. The week before that, they beat Laverne Lutheran 79-0. Option, Ledane outside. Jimenez brings him down right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job. They said they lost the football. Is there any indication they're going to say they're going to rule him down? 2nd down. Let's watch it again. Play action there. Adams pushes it outside, and here's Jimenez, kind of the do-si-do, and that's a fumble. That ball came loose.
Sure did.
So 2nd down from the 15.
It's like Caden Adams might be out for the game. He's over on the sideline with his shoulder.
Oh, we saw him. Remember,
Yeah,
he kind of came down on it
That could be
when he caught the touchdown pass. Be another injury. They already are without Felix Gonzalez. Here's the give up the middle to the big man, close to a 1st down. That's Dalen Connor carrying it. About 3 yards on the play. He'll bring up a 3rd and 2. Connor coming in, 34 carries, 325 yards, nearly 10 yards a pop. 7 touchdowns. He's also one of the leading tacklers for Desert Chapel, 33 tackles on the season for the Eagles and their head coach David DeWoody. Ticking down to the end of the first quarter. Ghazal Hassan with you along with Jeff Gorham. We got Pep Fernandez down along the sideline. And timeout taken by Desert Chapel. They didn't want the quarter to run out for whatever reason. I don't know if there's a big wind issue, but they called timeout here on 3rd down, and the defense getting a talking to on the sideline.
Hopefully, like I said, Caden Adams is okay. The super sophomore, the younger brother of Trevin Adams.
Trying to defend their league championship, the Cubs of CSDR. They want to make it back to that CIF final, Division II finalist last year. What a great run they had out of the city of Riverside, losing the final. Being turned into a movie.
And I would hope that they would ask the players to play themselves. If they don't make the movie 5 years from now, they might be, they could be too old. But how cool would it be to have them play in the movie?
But like Blue Chips, right? You have Bobby Hurley playing for Indiana.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So here we go, 3rd and 2. Now, if they were playing 11-man football, this would be the A11 formation. I'm going to call it the A8 formation. Trying to throw over the middle and complete and a touchdown. Touchdown, Desert Chapel.
Nice play there across the middle.
Looks like they'll line up for 2.
This could be a high-scoring affair here, but a pretty low score for the first quarter. I think we had 44-0 the last time we saw CSDR when they played Florida School for the Deaf and Blind.
Option, trying to get outside. That's the big fella, Dalen Connor, and down he goes. Nice play, stringing it out by Lika Visco. Also there on the play was Trevin Adams, and they'll stop the 2-point conversion. So after the touchdown, the Cubs snuff out the 2-point conversion. They'll get the ball back with a 16-6 lead. I'm going to guess Adrian Rendon caught that touchdown pass again. We don't have a number 24 on the roster, but Rendon is their leading receiver. And hopefully we can maybe get Pep to check that out. A couple of different numbers. There are schools that use different numbers on the road versus at home, so I'm guessing that's what it is.
When you have 16 guys, just use other uniforms.
It just makes it tough. I mean, we've gone through that this year where a lot of the rosters are incorrect.
Yes, but it's like an old Don Markham roster, like 16 guys.
Mm-hmm. Don Markham, many years coach at Ramona. In fact, running out like the last coach at Ramona, Jeff, to win an outright league title. Of course, they won a couple of combined league titles, but back in '88, Don Markham and the Rams. So Ladane going to kick it off. Let's see if they try the onside here. No. He's going to kick it away. Field at the 5, up to the 10, 15, 20. Dancing outside, accelerating 25. And going down inside the 25, Lika Visco. So the Cubs will start from the 23-yard line.
Lights look pretty good out here. Be nice for them to renovate the entire stadium. It would be great for them to move into the 21st century out here.
It's what, this facility, all the athletic facilities have been around since the 50s. I do believe they updated the gym.
They have a brand new gym, brand new weight facility, and a pool. They've done great, and there is allocated $43 million.
Right. The state of California actually, after last year, stepped up and said, "Hey, We're going to renovate your football field, your baseball field, and your softball field. So hopefully that can be done sooner than later.
And they even talked about putting in a soccer pitch.
Caden Adams, first down, drops back to throw up to the 20-25, and then shoved out of bounds. Chasing him out of bounds were Abraham Najjar, also there, the big fella Dalen Connor. And that'll be the last play of the first quarter. And we'll switch sides here at California School for the Deaf, right off of Arlington Boulevard, right in the heart of the city of Riverside.
Great place. My mom lives just down the street. I had a chance to, I almost brought her to the game tonight, but she thought it would be a little too chilly. It does feel like October weather.
Football weather, right? We're in October now, man. A couple of
Yeah.
weeks from the playoffs. Thursday night football action here on Riverside TV. We got some action tomorrow night as well.
We have some a couple games going on tonight in the city. We have Norte Vista is playing Patriot just down the road here on the same street, actually. Just got to go down about 4 miles.
So Ken Bettriff, then he's not watching, so he won't be able to
He will be watching.
marvel at Desert Chapel.
He will be watching tonight.
That'll be an interesting match. That's interesting. That's a key game now. You know, Patriot, they lost that heartbreaker last week against Hillcrest. How about Travis Carter's club?
Holy smokes. They were down 20 points, I think, in the fourth quarter and came back to win that one. I think with 4 minutes left, they did the damage. And
4 seconds.
yeah.
Scored with no time left, and it was a missed extra point. Came down to a missed extra
Yes,
point.
that's what it came down to.
So the run was up to the 26-yard line. So a 2nd and 10 coming up. Adams to throw. He's got time. Now it closes up a little bit. He'll fling it down the field. Incomplete. He was looking down the field for Visco. And 3rd down coming up. Pep Fernandez has something for us here as we go to 3rd down. What do you got, Pep?
I want to know if I'm in frame now.
Hey guys, Caden Adams, quick update on him. He is done for the night, unfortunately. Took a helmet right into his shoulder. He wanted to get back into the game so bad, but coach telling him, we need you for the playoffs, rest up, and they need him for the long run. So Caden Adams, done for tonight, but he really wanted to get back in there, guys.
Swing pass on 3rd down. Thanks, Pep. Gets up to about the 30-yard line. And so 4th down coming up.
Yeah, that's a lot of offense that the Cubs are going to be without.
Yeah, Caden Adams and his older brother Trevin, kind of that 1-2 punch. Adams 156 yards rushing with a touchdown, and he's caught a touchdown pass earlier today. That was his 3rd touchdown pass on the season. He came in, played last year as a freshman. So here we go, 4th down at about 5. Let's see if Adams throws or punts. He's going to throw the football. Here comes pressure. He's going to fling it down the field late and a 1st down. Valencia with the catch on the Desert Chapel side of the field at about the 35-yard line. So about a 20-yard pickup will move the sticks. There's Jory Valencia, came in 19 receptions, leading receiver, 496 yards, so nearly 26 yards a pop. That was about for 20. So 1st and 10 from the 35 on the 4th down conversion. Sitting down, Visco in the middle of that zone at the 30. Now he'll run after the catch. 25-20. He won't quite get to the 20. Oh, he will. He'll break the tackle and finally be shoved out of bounds at the 10 by Ledane. So a 25-yard pickup there, and just like that, knocking on the door, the Cubs of CSDR.
Holy smokes, how many times was he down?
Visco just kept escaping like Houdini out of a milk can. So there's Visco. Nice block thrown there. That was by Metzner. And there you go. He's dead to rights and breaks the tackle. First and goal inside the 10. Adams surveying, looking. He's got time. Now it closes up a little bit. He'll work the other way, still on his feet. Backing up, looking down. Good coverage downfield by Desert Chapel. Now he'll run with the football. To the 5, to the goal line. Touchdown. ball comes loose, doesn't matter. I thought he broke the plane before the ball came out. So the touchdown for Adams, and they'll line it up and go for 2.
He ran around for about 45 seconds.
It's like a video game almost. Video game
You
football,
couldn't get
right?
him.
But a nice block by Metzner late in the play.
It was like stalling. He was just stalling the play, like playing old school basketball.
Dean Smith, 4 corners, right?
There you go.
So 22-6, they'll go for 2. Two by 2. Darius Zaramemka, top of the screen. He'll look that way, but it's incomplete, and the 2-point conversion fails. 22-6 is the score here at 10:19 to play. After the touchdown run by Trevin Adams, we'll go down to Pep Fernandez. So a 10-yard TD run here at 10:20 of the second quarter.
And,
Here's Pep.
Scarlett, how awesome is this that you're out here obviously enjoying a Cubs lead right now, and your son already has a touchdown jewelry in this game.
Yes. Yes, my son was number 3. He made a touchdown. He gets one every game. He always scores or gets an interception. That's his thing.
So besides Jory's mother, which is special in itself, you're also the middle school principal here at CSDR. So it's always Go Cubs in the Valencia house, right?
Yeah, just to let you know, I was born and raised right here. I graduated from this school back in the 90s. So really, you know, my parents' house is just 2 blocks from here. So I bleed red and gray my whole life. I have 3 kids who all attend this school, and Jory is my second child. I have another daughter, and then my oldest son has already graduated a few years ago.
Well, we all know about Noah, the big basketball star that was here at CSDR, of course. But we're going to go back to the game here because we're about ready for kickoff after that touchdown for CSDR. But, Scarlett, we really appreciate the time.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Family affair here at CSDR and the kickoff. And starting off at about the 32-yard line will be Desert Chapel. So they'll have very good field position, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and that was a great story there. You know, Mom is the middle school principal. Dad is the athletic director. There are many cousins and 3 of the Valencias from them. So a great, great story here in the city of Riverside.
22-6, Cubs lead the Eagles. 1st and 10, line is the 29 for Desert Chapel.
Yeah, they're going to go with this. It looks like they're going to work with this all game here.
Changing it up, need to make something happen. Adjust the formation. Here's the throw to the big fella. This is Connor. Connor over the 29, about the 31-yard line. Dalen Connor, one of the senior captains. Standout on both offense and defense. We mentioned in the 8-man game, a lot more two-way guys, Jeff.
You almost have to. You look at the sideline, there's like 4 guys standing there.
Almost like kind of a backyard game, right?
I
You get all
love
the
it.
kids from the neighborhood, and you're playing whatever, 6-on-6, 7-on-7. And this is obviously 8-on-8. That's Shepler coming in motion to the bottom of your screen. Blake Shepler, the 6'2", 205-pound senior, and then a timeout called on the play.
So do you have tight ends then if it's a 8-man?
Yeah, I guess it depends where they line up, right?
Yeah.
You have a 3-man line, but if you have a fourth, if you play fourth, you go balanced, that 4th guy on the outside will be a tight end. Get a look at the huddle for CSDR, their defense. And one thing they can do is put points on the board. They average 63 points per game, coming off a championship game appearance last year all the way to the final. Fell a little bit short. It was a heartbreaker. I know a lot of the kids were very emotional about the end of the season, but another opportunity emerging here in 2022.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a great game last year that came out on the the wrong side of the wind. But I'll tell you what, there was thousands of people at that North. It was over at John W. North High School.
Yeah, John W. North, that's right.
And it was packed. It looks like the clock is out.
So they'll have to keep it on the field. You see our white hat adjusting his watch.
All right, Gavin Newsom, $43 million, buy them a new score clock.
Make it all happen. And what's interesting is, I'll tell you, now they'd have to make it a 40-yard field, right, because they're playing 8-man football. But if they had a situation where they could adjust between 40 and 50, maybe some other teams could play here too.
Yeah, and they're supposed to put in an all-purpose track out here. And bleachers would be great.
2nd down and 10. Here's the flare out of the backfield. Double pass. Connor will throw it deep. They got a man. It's complete to Ledane, and he's in for a touchdown. 50-yard touchdown strike on the pitch pass. Dalen Connor to Riley Ledane. And a little razzle-dazzle for the Eagles of Desert Chapel gets them back into this one.
I love it. What a great play to throw there.
And now you go for 2 here and get it. It's a one-score game, Jeff.
Holy smokes. CSDR is as close as anybody's been to them all year.
We knew this was going to be a matchup. Both teams undefeated. CSDR, you thought, had a little bit of an advantage, but now, first of all, they were without the services of Felix Gonzalez, and now they may have lost Caden Adams for the game. So the options, a little bit less diverse for the Cubs. And, hey, Desert Chapel, make no mistake, the Eagles are a pretty good team. Coach Adams said as much when we talked to him in the pregame. Here's the option, and he is stripped and dispossessed, and there down he goes. Making the play, Alfredo Baltazar, the sophomore for the Cubs, gets in there. And here's a look at that last play, the 2-point conversion, which fell short. Connor, they're trying to get him in the open space. He's a big one, 6'1", 235, kind of pounds the turf. But here you go, redeems himself on the pass off the option, and wide open is Ledane for the touchdown. So 22-12, and they'll kick the ball back to the Cubs, will the Eagles. And this is big, obviously, playoff seeding, right? You want to be the league champion. Especially the Cubs, they understand what the mission is.
Yes, they do. And tell you what, you have to get that high seed because you do want to play as many games at home as possible if you were CSDR.
So remember, again, it's an 80-yard field, so the kickoff for Desert Chapel will be from the 30. And how about Raul Ledane does it all? Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, kicker, defense. It's kind of the nature of the game.
Utility. They're all utility men.
ATH, right? Athletes from the 4-yard line. Weaving up to the 15, trying to get outside the 20, over the 20, and a flag on the play. Making the return is Gio Visco.
They're holding on CSDR. Yeah, that's what people now put in their programs. Instead of position, they put athlete. Have you seen that? It's a new thing.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'm hip to that yet, though.
I guess that I think the reason they do that is kind of code to college coaches, maybe recruiting them. Hey, I'm open to playing another position.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So ball goes back to the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for CSDR. There's Christian Jimenez communicating. Adams. Valencia catches it about the 8. Trying to get over the 10. He will, and they'll get suplexed down. Lost the football. Rumbling with it, Aaron Elbin will take it inside the 5-yard line. They're going to say he was down before the ball came out. Let's take another look.
Let's see if it was forward. Probably. Let's see here.
There's Valencia. Now, that obviously came out. I'm guessing they're saying they whistled it dead.
Yeah.
Because that just by the video, obviously looks like a fumble because it came dislodged. But if the official blew the play dead and it was over, then that's where they mark it.
I don't think coach is too happy with the call.
So what he's saying is they're going to replay, they're going to do it over because the whistle blew. It shouldn't have blown. Going to look at Keith Adams there, the head coach for CSDR. And that's your project for the summer. Have Ken Batdorf sign up for a American Sign Language class, and that's how he can signal plays into his offense.
That's the way to do it. Well, that was done by Pete Lanzi, That was, the original huddle was designed here at CSDR. I don't know if you knew that, is that Pete Lanzi was the longtime coach here. The NFL came begging him to know what happens. He would get his team in a huddle, and that's how they would communicate. That's how the huddle began. And the audibles and so forth was all the brainchild of Pete Lanzi, longtime coach here at CSDR.
Adams with it. He'll have another first down up to the 22-yard line. Connor brings him down.
And Adams, I believe, is going to have to take a lot of this workload here. He's going to have to run the football quite a bit with his top two receivers out of the ball game.
Low snap. He's finally taken out by Connor. I noticed he went up and was checking with his center, kind of telling him, hey, make sure the snap is good. We don't want to turn it over. So they mark it to the 21. So officially an 11-yard gain for Adams. 1st and 10. Under 9 minutes to play in the first half. And just as he says that, another short snap, he dives on it. They'll keep possession, but they lose the down.
So for the first time in a game and a quarter, we're seeing CSDR struggle a little bit here on offense.
22-12, the Cubs leading the Eagles. Both teams come in unbeaten, a de facto league championship game in the Tri-County Premier League. There's Trevin Adams. He's the senior captain, the quarterback for the Cubs. Took them all the way to the CIF final last year. Division II in the 8-man division. Option, Adams. One tackle, he breaks it. He's got a first down and more. He's to the second level, getting outside. Adams finally, Ledane, his counterpart, shoves him, nudges him outside the sideline. We'll see where they mark it.
You couldn't even put him down. Just hit him out of bounds. Like I said, we're going to see a whole lot of run here from Adams, I believe.
Another good run. And just once he gets to the second level, remember, there's a lot more space. Nice downfield block there by Zaramubka. So they'll place the ball inside the 20, or right at the 20. So a 38-yard run, 1st and 10, flips the field. Zaremka down the field with a great block for CSDR on the previous play. Adams dancing outside. Puts the shoulder down, still going, got a first down and more. Still on his feet inside the 5. Knocked out of bounds there at about the 4-yard line.
Holy cow, you can't take that guy down. He's Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell Adams right there.
Another look at it. That's the whole thing, just keeps driving. 2 Eagles had the shot at him, and he just kept driving. Finally, he took the third guy coming over and making the hit. That was Blake Shepler for Desert Chapel. 1st and goal coming up. Oh, it's a penalty, so they brought it back to the 29-yard line. They're saying it's still first down. So they'll replay the first down. Here's the give, and they get the first down right back. Cody Metzner brought down inside the 20.
Metzner, a great run there. They get him back here to Second and 10.
Metzner takes it, kind of ducks in behind his line. Connor with the first shot. Look at Landera there. Or Ledane, excuse me. Ledane dragging him down. Just grabbed hold of the jersey and didn't let go. Again, Metzner puts the shoulder down, gets inside the 5-yard line. Down about the 4. So the offensive line, Terrazas, Baltazar for CSDR. And the third guy is Jimenez up front. So now it's 1st and goal. Adams and Metzner give a look back to the sideline.
I love watching the communication amongst the team. It's great. It's almost a symbiotic relationship.
Option. Adams, stiff arm. Touchdown. Ran right through Abraham Najjar. He's one of the better tacklers for Desert Chapel, but he got right through him, meaning Trevin Adams, another touchdown for the Cubs. They lead at 28-12. We knew they can put points on the board, Jeff.
And they're putting up points without a couple of their big-time weapons. But, you know, Trevin Adams shows why he's going to be playing on Saturdays next year. In fact, he's going to Gallaudet University going to be the quarterback.
Washington, D.C., yeah. So to give you an idea, Desert Chapel coming into this matchup tonight, Jeff, in 6 previous games, all of which were wins, they allowed a total of 34 points. CSDR, with 6 minutes left ostensibly in the second quarter, could make it 30 right here with this 2-point conversion. Adams from the gun. Option. Lofts it into the end zone. The 2-point conversion is good to Gio Visco. 30-12, the Cubs on top of the Eagles, nearly matching the total points they'd surrendered all season in 6 games.
That just tells you how good CSDR is. You know, and CSDR isn't always going to be this great. It just happened, like I said, the planets aligned, and you have a great team of young players they built since they were freshmen. They're going to continue to be good, but it's not like you can just have kids show up at your school.
It just showed me it's you know, every coach, it's almost a cliche. It's a mentality. But I was reading a piece on their run last year and how Trevin Adams was just devastated that they didn't finish it off. You know,
yes.
And you could pat him on the back. Hey, what a great run! He didn't want to hear anything about
Nothing.
it. He's a competitor and he wanted to finish the job. And he said, "No, we're going to finish it this year."
And what a great story for not only CSDR, but the entire deaf community nationwide. I mean, this shows that, hey, they're doing big things over here.
I mean, we can get a shot of the stand. It's a community team. You got a standing room only. Not many bleachers here, but they're all full. And you got the players, and you got, you know, and that's, both these schools are K through 12.
Yeah.
They have elementary school, middle school, all on the same campus. So it's nice to see the support. You even see it on the Desert Chapel side. A lot of people have made the trip out from Palm Desert. Little scooch kick. Not quite a squib, not quite a pooch. And fielded over the 20-yard line. And being brought down was Jacob Correas. And that's where they'll start 1st and 10, meaning the Eagles of Desert Chapel. Hey, they're down 18 points, but it's still early. You never know. Strange things happen at sundown in these games.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and losing, like I said, you've lost a couple big offensive weapons. And they really did rely on a lot of passing. But when you can't do it, you got to rely on your leader and your senior. And Adams has just been phenomenal, and Metzger as well.
Let's see what Coach David DeWoody can dial up. He of the 5 8-man championships going back to the 70s.
He has one for every finger.
He won 3 at Riverside Christian in the late 90s to early 2000s and took over this team a couple of years ago. Desert Chapel last year only got to play 5 games, including one against CSDR, and the Snap gets away. Flag on the play. Running for his life, Ledane running away from Figueroa, and he steps out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Let's sort the flag out.
I think it's going to be against Desert Chapel. Let's see if there's an offside here. I don't know what that.
There was some confusion. It seemed like the ball got snapped early before the quarterback knew it was coming.
Oh, it looks like maybe offsides because it's still first down.
So that went back 5 yards, right? Because they were in the 22. So a false start. Move it back 5, and we'll do it all over again. 1st and 15.
Look at those helmets. I'm telling you, man. I need in my collection of helmets. I want that one.
Nice colors there. They'll split out to the far side. Blake Shepler in the far slot is Dalen Connor for Desert Chapel. Throwing that way. Complete to Connor at the 24-yard line. Second down coming up.
We have another one tomorrow because all here on Riverside TV. 2 more games tomorrow night.
Another Key League matchup tomorrow.
You and I will get to see O.P. Vaiapulu and John W. North for the first time this season.
Jory Valencia on the tackle. It'll be nice to see Coach Vaiapulu head over to the doghouse. That's a big game for both those teams, though. Temescal and J-Dub trying to hang in there in the playoff hunt.
And we have the flex game as well.
Ledane over the middle, incomplete. Nice play defensively, stepping up and making the play. Gio Visco. Intended receiver was Blake Shepler.
Yeah, that's the freshman right there doing some work.
What's the flex game tomorrow?
Flex game tomorrow is John Rice and Riverside Poly versus Lakeside.
Oh, our good friend James Seidler.
And that's another big one for playoff.
Both, yeah, important for both teams. Remember last year it was Poly beat Lakeside, kind of got them on a little bit of a roll. Incomplete there. Good defensive play and third down coming up.
And remember, 6 teams in the city of Riverside won their first round CIF games last year. Be great to have a repeat performance.
You just want to do more games.
I love going to these games.
Pump fake. Ledane looking down the field. Intercepted. Gio Visco makes the twisting acrobatic interception at the 35, and it's a turnover for Desert Chapel. Cubs football.
Yeah, the freshman.
So Visco, one of the guys called upon with the injury to Felix Gonzalez, and he's making up for it. Visco waiting. Good coverage there. They go back to Shepler, and he just steps in front of him and picks it off. First down, Cubs. So from the 35-yard line of CSDR, they have 45 yards to go to pay dirt here. 4:21 to play in the second quarter. It's already 30-12. CSDR comes into the game averaging 63 points, 62.9 points per game on their prolific offense. And they've already lost a couple of key contributors, but the machine just keeps on clicking. So here's Terrazas, who was the center for a little bit. Now he's the running back, and Visco with the little screen pass. 40, breaks through, 35, cuts back inside at the 30, angling to the sideline. He'll be brought down just inside the 25 at about the 20-yard line. Riley Ledane making the tackle. He's all over the field.
What do they say? He is eating.
Yeah, he's eating.
He's eating.
That's the kids say, right?
Yeah, that's what the young. Look at the freshman doing. He just gets a interception.
They reward him with it in a 23-yard pickup down to the 22-yard line or so of Desert Chapel. Nice little stiff arm at the end of that run there. Might have gotten a piece of the face mask.
He's going to be the big man on campus tomorrow.
So 1st and 10 from the 22. Right up the middle, Terrazas, the senior.
Hey,
twist down to the 20-yard line.
Did you see what he did? Did you see that move? He jumped up without touching it. He just like flipped himself up.
The old Cobra Kai move.
That
right?
was a great Cobra Kai move.
Yeah.
I want to see that again. Let's see if we can. Let's knock him down again so he can get back up.
Under the tutelage of Johnny Lawrence, right? Snapping back up.
That was awesome. That was a great move.
2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8. Line is the 20 with tick down to 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. 30-12. Desert Chapel, a team that's only allowed 34 points. And the fumble recovered by Desert Chapel. I believe that was Shepler that fell on it. Dropped the snap, and Shepler fired through the gap and recovered the football. And the Eagles have some life here with 3 minutes to play in the second quarter. Or they're going to say he's down. Was his knee down? That's the question.
Let's see.
So he goes down. That's a fumble. I think that's like a fumble to me.
Had to get the grass off his helmet.
Here we go, turnover. And here comes Ledane in. Now, we always make that joke about Forrest Whitaker at Fast Times, right? Hit
Yes.
by Jefferson. How about Riley Ledane for Desert Chapel? He's a quarterback. He's their safety, and he caught a touchdown pass. He's all over the field.
He is playing. Like I said, he is the athlete.
First down and 10 from the 25. He'll launch down the field. He's got a man, but it's going to be short, incomplete. Running underneath to Adrian Rendon, the senior. Interesting. I wonder if this is how it'll be. CIF is adding flag football for girls next year.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if it's going to be similar to this. I don't know if they'll play 11 on 11. If they'll play 8 on 8 or 7 on 7, it'll be interesting.
I heard they're going to play twice a week. Wow. And we have a score update here at Norte Vista. Norte Vista up 14-7. Midway through the first quarter over Patriot.
I expect that to be a slugfest. Those teams are going to go after each other. They're going to be physical. Those coaches both run that physical running game. False start on Desert Chapel. We'll move it back 5 yards. Mike O'Reilly, our white hat tonight. I know he was a formidable opponent for you in the Ural basketball days. O'Reilly, who played for Poly when you were playing for Ramona. I think he's the reason you hate Poly so much.
Oh, Poly. The Bears.
Ledane in trouble, trying to escape, but Adams is going to bring him down. Adams brings him down at the 15-yard line.
And Adams nearly stripped it as he went down. I don't know if you saw that, but nearly got his hand on the ball to take it off.
Yeah, a little quarterback-on-quarterback violence. You'd think Trevin Adams would take it easy on his fellow quarterback, but no.
He'd be nice to him. See, he nearly gets it. That's arm strength right there.
That's the weight room. That's why he's going to Gallaudet to play quarterback next year in Washington, D.C. Clock moving at the 15-yard line. Third down. Connor, the quarterback, he'll launch it. Down the sideline, one-on-one is Ledane with Valencia, and incomplete and fourth down.
Big arm there.
Big fella, 6'1", 235.
That's a large human.
We've seen him on defense, seen him on offense, and now he actually threw the touchdown pass earlier,
That's
if you
right.
remember.
You know, it's always good to see little kids throwing dirt on each other.
The sideshow here is almost as exciting as the game.
Oh, these guys are throwing literally handfuls of dirt on one another.
Right beneath us, where our broadcast position is like a dirt track. So some of the youngsters here, I don't know if they're students here or.
No, there they are.
There's the shot.
Look. That's like the Gorham boys. That's
Dirt.
like a regular look. Just
Dirt,
going
there you
dirt.
go. The old dirt clod fight, right?
Oh, I need to bring Luke here. Luke would be going crazy with the dirt.
Here's the punt from Ledane. Back is Adams to field it. Bounces past him. He's got to go all the way back to the 16-yard line to field it. And now Adams will try to weave his way through, and down he goes. Connor with the tackle as he gets over the 20 to about the 22. And it's 1st and 10. So we got it all going here at CSDR. Got dirt clod fights going on. We got an 8-man football game going on. I don't know if you remember, there was a band, a pretty good band of the 90s. little punk band. I think they were from somewhere around here. They might have been from Pomona, and they were called Dirt Clod Fight.
Never.
That was the coolest name for a
Dirt
band.
Clod Fight.
They might have been part of that whole shrimper scene up in Pomona.
How do you know these things? Is that your kind of music? Dirt Clod Fight?
I mean, I loved, when they're, music for me is very temporal. It's like a place and a time, right?
Yeah.
So for about 6 weeks, I was like the biggest Dirt Clod Fight fan there was, and then the next band came out, and then you listen to them for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, I wish you could have been a roadie for those guys. Oh, now they've gone to rocks. They've gone to smaller rocks now.
To track that. Yeah, it's funny. Now that I've hung with the Gorham Boys, whenever I see that, that's Luke and Johnny right there.
That's just them. It's constant brawl.
Adams to throw. Adams steps up. He's going to fling it way downfield. He's got a man, and it's going to be picked off. Bringing it back the other way, that's Rendon, Valencia, and then Adams finally tackles him on the CSDR side of the field at 33-yard line. So another opportunity for Desert Chapel to make it a little bit closer. Remember, the Eagles get the ball to start the second half.
That's right.
Plenty of time. He looks downfield. Now finally the pressure comes. He steps up and he flings it and just steps in front of him.
And he's angry. Watch. He makes the tackle, comes in. Says,
Visco was the intended receiver. Yeah, Adams upset that he threw the pick.
So I'm going to go after him.
So 91 seconds to play, 33 yards to traverse if you're the Eagles of Desert Chapel. Here's the give. Correas running over the left side, cuts down inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. So give him a good 5 to 6 yard pickup on first down. Clock continues to move. See, they're playing with a tight end here. Second down. Here comes the pressure. Ledane trying to avoid it, and he's finally muscled out of bounds. Jimenez and Valencia combine on the hit, but he steps out of bounds to stop the clock with 51 seconds to play here on the second quarter. A 30-12 lead for CSDR. Another look at the play.
And it is a little odd watching sometimes in 8-man football is sometimes you don't have a guy to block.
Right.
It's just standing there. It's different.
It's weird they made the adjustment right because now you have Adrian Rendon there lining up as the tight end. So now you have a 5-man line. And what a hit. Hello, how do you do? That's Trevin Adams introducing himself to Jacob Correas.
He got his
Correas a little bit slow to get up. He looks to be okay, but they're going to make sure he's all right, that it wasn't any helmet-to-helmet type stuff. And then take his helmet off.
He just looked like he got the wind knocked right out of him.
Takes the handoff, and here comes the missile. Ooh, my.
That's great. I mean, it's a great tackle.
Yeah, I mean, using the shoulder pad, he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any helmet-to-helmet contact there, but you could see the head snap back a little bit. And that's always a concern with fourth down coming up, and nice to see him rise to his feet. Yeah, I think it was what you said, Jeff. I think it was just got the wind knocked out of him for a little bit.
Have you ever had that happen to you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, that's the worst feeling in the world. There aren't too many things that hurt worse than that. I could say a couple, but I mean that's one you just go
It's like you want to. It's weird because it's. Man, you want to get up.
No, and
then when you kind of recover, you're like, oh, why was I down? Like, no, you got hit pretty hard. That's why you were down. 4th and 3 coming up. The turn and the give up the middle. This is Connor fighting. And he'll get the first down. They'll move the sticks.
I'm confused why the clock is not.
Well, that's to move the chains, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, they move the chains.
Now they'll clock it, and they'll have one final play they can run here. I don't know if they have a field goal kicker they can bring out, or just try the Hail Mary here.
Go to the Hail Mary. Get the ball back.
So 22, yeah. So it would be about a 40-yard field goal. So I don't think they'll do that. They're going to throw the ball to the end zone. They've had some good success doing that.
A little trickery.
Ledane comes back in. So from the gun. Drops the ball. He's going to fling it all the way down, and it'll be intercepted. Valencia picks it off, steps in front of Shepler, and that's how the first half ends. 30-12 in favor of CSDR. They lead Desert Chapel. So this matchup for the Tri-County Premier game, the Tri-County Premier first place in the Tri-County Premier League, very much in favor of the home team, CSDR. Senior night here in the city of Riverside, and the Cubs, they're showing out for this home crowd.
Well, they are. You know, they had a loss by a couple players, but next man up, and they have been pretty darn good with Trevin Adams and Joey Valencia have been pretty darn good, and the running game from Metzner.
Yeah, Felix Gonzalez unavailable. They lost Caden Adams earlier in this game. He caught a touchdown pass and kind of came up grabbing his arm and his shoulder. So those two players unavailable. They're both starters for CSDR tonight. But the Cubs, seems like it's no matter. 30-12, they lead Desert Chapel. We come back, we'll have Pep Fernandez with you, but for Jeff Gorham, Ghazal Hassan with you. Halftime here at CSDR. We'll be back with the second half when we can on Riverside TV.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. So please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe.
It's time for a revolution. I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
Well, it all started basically with my son, Joshua Unger. He's severely autistic. He was aging out of the school district, and this was about when he was around 18, but the school district keeps you till you're 22. We're sitting at home one day and we're talking about, well, what are we going to do once he actually is out of the school district? And we thought about it really hard, and at that time we were doing some backyard gardening. And my son was very responsive to it. He enjoyed going out and planting the seeds and being in the soil and, harvesting the lettuce and going and, getting the carrots and the onions, and, he likes to cook too. And we thought, well, hey, what if we actually had some property to where we could have like a small farm that sells vegetables, and we can make a program where we can bring in others, a work program for people with these different disabilities. Ultimately, what we decided to do was just start looking in the Inland Empire area for a piece of property that would work for that. And, we found the Greenbelt. We try to implement as much organic material in the soil as possible. We're not using any pesticides or herbicides. We, have barn owl boxes. We have little birds' nests that we're planting so that they'll eat some of the bugs, and we also encourage predator bugs, like ladybugs. Our operation is at that point where we're turning a corner. With the high tunnels going up, we're going to be planting tomatoes in there. There's a lot of little things to maintain with tomatoes. We're kind of transitioning from a point where we were just focused on this small little corner of the property, kind of educating me. And then now that we have some systems in place that I feel are successful, we're going to expand that across the center part of the farm here, and we're going to be putting in a little farm stand that we can sell some of these vegetables with, and that will provide additional tasks for the workers with disabilities to fulfill. One of the ways that we reach out to people is on Facebook, and it's Gable Farms. Just Gable Farms, and you can search it in Riverside, and that's an easy way to find us.
My daughter had an issue at school where another student on her campus, specifically in her class, said some derogatory things about people of color, specifically black people. Although Riverside is a great place to live, it has shadows and it has corners where hate lives. As a result of that, my daughter was hurt that day, and we needed to put a voice to it. A friend of mine, she reached out to me and she said, Rochelle, I can't sit by and know that this happened to Edison and not do something.
We had a conversation about the racism that her daughter Edison had experienced at her school and how that felt to her. We felt like we needed to do something and to say something. And so we talked about the representation of black figures in Riverside and how there was a lack of representation. We talked about inclusion and respect and what that looked like. And we talked about creating an art piece.
It was after the murals that we had up on the Fox Performing Arts Center, as well as the John Lewis mural at the Civil Rights Institute. And so when this concept came to us at the City of Riverside, it felt a way that we could support our artist community, because we are the City of Arts and Innovation, but it was also in an easy, beautiful way, a statement that we promote, we respect, and we want diversity, equity, and inclusion in all things we do.
I myself am a mosaic artist, and so I talked to Rochelle about the possibility of us creating an art piece, and she loved that idea. And soon Shay Tracy, who is also an educator, so we three are three teachers. We started out on this endeavor to create this piece together and enlisted 14 artists to create the piece that you see here today.
As at that time, there was so much happening in the culture, in the world, surrounding Black Lives Matter, and some of the protests in terms of the police brutality that was happening, that I just felt I needed to do something as a mom of two boys. Each individual person, they worked on their own sketch of the artist, and they put the tiles together at their own home studio, and then towards the end, we collected the materials in waves, and then we kind of just put it all together a few weeks before the reveal. I want them to feel the love and intentionality that we put into the mural. I wanted to awaken a curiosity about all of the people who we included in the mural, and to just get people to understand and to have more interest in Black history and in these contributing members.
As the City of Arts and Innovation, this was a really beautiful step towards including art pieces that are public and that are representative of everyone.
For the community, I hope that it shows that in being authentic and real and transparent and sharing our stories, great things can come out of it.
Welcome to In the Vault, a program of the Museum of Riverside. Today I'm going to share a little bit about the museum's herbarium, which is a collection of plant specimens, and a herbarium can be either dry or wet specimens, but mostly dry specimens, and that's what we have quite a bit of. It began with the early curator of botanic collections, Edmund Yeager, who started collecting specimens in the Riverside and San Bernardino area in the 1920s. Many of these specimens that he collected eventually wound up in our collection. But the real turning point was in 1949 when Charles and Wilhelmina Clark donated their collection, the Clark Herbarium, along with an endowment for the care of the collection and for botanical programs. And we've pulled out today just a couple of specimens, just a few specimens from the Clark Herbarium that are examples of Nevins barberry, which is an endangered species in our area. And you actually can acquire cultivated specimens of this plant from nurseries, but in the few areas where it grows naturally, it's under threat and has been added to the endangered species list. Now, this is how dried herbarium specimens are stored and collected. A herbarium specimen is of little use to us unless it comes with its collection data. So all this information is here, collected on a certain date in a certain location by a certain collector. And then the specimens are dried under certain conditions so that they don't attract mold, mildew, or other forces that can disintegrate them. Because they're dried, of course, they're very fragile, and we have to keep them in short stacks in carefully controlled environmental conditions. And you might wonder why we would have more than one example of the same species. And there's a reason for that, several reasons actually. First of all, comparing different examples of the same species can give information to researchers. And comparing specimens that have been collected over time can give researchers information about changing environmental conditions. And in the context of much research that's done today, for instance, climate change, we can learn much about how and where specimens were collected and what has happened to their morphology over time. It's also useful to have different specimen examples for genetic research, which is done today. Again, it was something that was, at the time these things were collected, no one even conceived of the kind of genetic research that would be done today. And now we have some of these specimens, which of course, because they're in essence insect food, we have to keep very close watch on them to make sure no infestations get into our storage vault here. These cabinets behind me are the cabinets where we store the herbarium specimens, and they have to be inspected often to make sure that we have no problems. To go back to the Clark Herbarium, that portion of the Museum of Riverside's herbarium comprises about 10,000 specimens. Additional collectors, other collectors, John C. Roos, for instance, actually this one was collected by John C. Roos, have added to the herbarium and make it a reference point with almost a century's trajectory that allows it to be a tremendous resource for researchers who are interested in Southern California, particularly the inland Southern California plant community. We have a new incoming lot of specimens coming into the herbarium soon. We do continue to actively collect, and again, for some of those scientific reasons that might not necessarily have been anticipated at the time that earlier examples of some of the species were collected. So for instance, a researcher has recently gone out to some of the areas in Central and Southern California that are fire damaged and collecting plant specimens that are coming back after those fires so that we can study the kind of plant communities that thrive in those post-fire environments. Again, we cannot possibly imagine what kind of research may be done in the future that would make these specimens of great use to a scientist. And I should add as well, as my background is the fine arts, that there's a resurgence of interest among artists in looking at these kinds of collections and just seeing the visual beauty of them and seeing how the visual impact of a specimen can be translated into an aesthetic experience and to help connect people with nature in a way that is very vital right now. So again, thank you for joining us for this segment of In the Vault, and we do encourage you, particularly if you're a researcher, to contact us and arrange to have access to the herbarium collection. Thank you.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
Athletics builds character, teamwork, physical fitness,
And shows what hard work can achieve.
And some of us can even earn a college scholarship or qualify for the Olympics.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play can be crushing.
Parents who lose their minds when we don't score aren't helping.
It can actually be super distracting. We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Even if you may not love the call.
Seeing and hearing people, belligerently be mean to you, it makes you not want to play anymore. It makes you just want to go sit on the sidelines and cry. It's not fun.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
Anger has no place here.
Thank you for being part of the change, and thank you for being there to lift us up.
Welcome to In the Vault, a feature of the Museum of Riverside. Today we're going to be talking about something fun and games actually. The museum has quite a large collection of games dating back to the 19th century. A small selection of them will be featured in a new exhibition at Heritage House to open in early September of 2022. One of the games we're going to include is this one, which we discovered recently in our collection storage vault. We looked up its records, and the records weren't particularly illuminating as to what it was, and none of us recognized what it was. So while we did some research and pondered a bit, we still didn't turn up any information. But we were fortunate to have some good luck in the form of putting out some images and information about this piece to an international network of game collectors and game historians. Luckily, very quickly, we got an answer back from a collector in Germany who informed us that it's a whist counter, that's W-H-I-S-T, which is a card game related to bridge, which was played quite frequently in the 18th and 19th centuries. You may imagine gentlemen and gentlemen's clubs in London playing whist in the 19th century. It's often referred to in novels, for instance, by Anthony Trollope. But today, the game is not played so very often. And there are other games in the collection that we'll be including that, again, are not played so very often, but that's a pity because many of them are quite fun. It's a great way to start conversation and spend some time with friends and family. Now, this piece, as a whist counter, I would imagine that each of these pieces is used by the card-playing team to keep track of their score in some way or to indicate. So, for instance, this little item here indicates whether your trump card is one or the other. So this is kind of a fancy way of keeping track of where things are in the course of play. It's a satin-lined velvet box, quite extravagant, and those researchers in Europe who helped us identify it indicated that they had not seen one quite so extravagant, wrapped in velvet, lined in satin. So we're quite pleased to be able to have this. It's been in our collection since 1967, but again, it came as an unknown object from its donor. Again, the opportunity to use something as small as this to track the scoring of a card game is something. It's something that we've lost. That ability to just gather a few people around home, play a game, but that primarily is an opportunity for people to get together, spend some time together, have some fun, converse, and that I believe is something that's been lost in our time. You can see this and other games from the Museum of Riverside's collection at the exhibition coming up next fall, September 9th at Heritage House, called It's Your Move, Games We Play. Welcome to In the Vault, a feature of the Museum of Riverside. Today we're going to be talking about something fun and games actually. The museum has quite a large collection of games dating back to the 19th century. One of the games is this one, which we discovered recently in our collection storage vault. We looked up its records, and the records weren't particularly illuminating as to what it was, and none of us recognized what it was. So while we did some research and pondered a bit, we still didn't turn up any information. But we were fortunate to have some good luck in the form of putting out some images and information about this piece to an international network of game collectors and game historians. Luckily, very quickly, we got an answer back from a collector in Germany who informed us that it's a whist counter, that's W-H-I-S-T, which is a card game related to bridge, which was played quite frequently in the 18th and 19th centuries. You may imagine gentlemen in gentlemen's clubs in London playing whist in the 19th century. It's often referred to in novels, for instance, by
is the mother of Felix Gonzalez, one of the star players for the Cubs. Unfortunately, he broke his leg about 2 weeks ago. He's at home, still mending. But here on senior night, his mother, Delia, representing him. And first off, Delia, I love your shirt representing Felix here. How proud are you of your son?
I am.
Is it hard not to have him on senior night here?
Yeah, it's really, he's suffering a lot. He's in a lot of pain. He can't really walk. He's in a lot of pain, so we had to stay home. But, I wanted to come here and support the football team as well as the coach and, just show the love and support. So I did that for him tonight in honor of senior night.
Now, I saw you on FaceTime with Felix a couple minutes ago. How bad did he want to be here tonight?
Yeah, he couldn't come. His toes hurt so bad. He's got a cast on it, so he's all wrapped up to keep it tight. So they had to put on a special cast so they could not move his big toe. So that's where a lot of the pain is coming from. But where his leg broke isn't too bad, but his toe is where most of the pain is. He can't get around. He's on crutches. And we have a townhome. It's a 2-story, so he has a rough time. He tries to do it on his own, make it up and down the stairs, and that's very painful too.
But he's in good spirits?
Not so much. But tomorrow we have an appointment with the doctor.
All right, very good.
We're going to find out if he needs a cast or another procedure. So they're going to give him another x-ray, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
All right, well, only the best for Felix. Delia, we really appreciate the time. Let me jump over here to the Metzner family as well. So if Amy and Floyd Metzner can now jump on over. Thank you, Delia. We appreciate it. We got Amy and Floyd, the mother and father of Cody Metzner. What's special about these parents? Obviously, Cody's a star football player, but they drive from Bakersfield every single weekend to see Cody play for the CSDR Cubs. They're a big football family. And what's it like, guys, being down here tonight on senior night and seeing Cody have another great game for CSDR?
It's such a thrill. But at the same time, it's kind of sad because it's his last year. You know, I enjoy watching him play football so much, you know, throughout his high school time here. And, you know, the time has just flown by.
How bad does he want a championship this year?
He wants it real bad.
All right, it looks like the game's about to start. I did want to say real quick that a lot of the students here at CSDR, almost half of them, live on campus away from their families, like the Metzner family here who come down to see Cody play. And that drive from Bakersfield, guys, I've made it. It's about 3 hours from here, but they love football, they love their son, and they're having a great season here at CSDR. Jeff Gazal, back to you guys.
Thanks, Pep. Great, such a great job there on the sideline. Senior day here. Parents from it's Felix Gonzalez's mom and then Cody Metzner's parents. What a great interview that was. And there's a little scooch kick picked up, and there he goes. Rendon down the sideline, pushed out of bounds in CSDR territory. So they couldn't get a score at the end of the first half, Jeff. But the Eagles now in Cubs territory, ready to drive.
In Cubs territory, and I'll tell you what, they did some adjustments after that first quarter where they spread out the field and really did some damage. They could really get back into this ball game and put CSDR on their heels for the first time really since that CIF championship game.
Now the flip side of that is in their first 6 games, all victories, they only allowed 34 points. The Cubs put up 30 in the first 24 minutes. That's pretty impressive, despite the fact they've lost 2 of their top offensive threats. 1st and 10 from the 38. Here's the give to Ledane. He gets stood up by Jimenez on the outside, but still on his feet. Second effort, breaks the cordon, and he gets out to about the 30-yard line. Tackle on the play made by Cody Metzner, so about a 6-yard pickup, second down coming up.
Now, did I hear that right? They drive down from Bakersfield every single week?
Yeah.
What a great story.
And I've heard great things about CSDR. I had a friend who taught some years ago. She taught up in the Lake Arrowhead area. And she said when she needed to come to get certified for sign language, came here to CSDR.
Awesome. I wish more. I wish it was given to my son at high school. I wish it was available.
Connor rumbling up the middle. He's close to a first down.
Yeah, I really do think that most high schools should really, really adopt the American Sign Language in their high school. I mean,
I heard that's happening. I heard you can get it in a couple high schools in the Riverside area.
I know at Riverside Poly and at Martin Luther King, they have it available to students. In fact, 2 of my friends that I work with, one goes to Poly, one goes to King. One's in their 3rd year, and the other's in their 4th year. So it counts as a foreign language, which is cool. And I hope that more schools adopt this program.
1st and 10 for Desert Chapel. The Eagles of the 27. They're battling back here. They trailed early, but trying to get back into this one. Ledane goes down. Metzner in on the hit. And wanting a flag as the flag comes in late. Adams wanted a flag also helping out Terrazas. And the flag goes against CSDR.
And there's another close game just down the road here as Patriot and Norte Vista going at it. It is 14-7 at halftime. Norte Vista on top.
If they end up in a tie, I think Ken Batdorf and Chris Fowler should wrestle.
It would be a good one.
It would be a great match. So the penalty takes it all the way down to the 11-yard line for the Eagles. Again, this is a big one. This is a de facto championship game in the Tri-County Premier League. Both these teams undefeated, 2-0 in league play. Running to the right side, being bent back. Not much going there for Connor, the big fella. Dalen Connor, the senior. He's one of the captains. came in averaging about 10 yards a pop, had a 50-yard run, and 7 touchdowns on the year. He's thrown for a touchdown here tonight. Third quarter, thanks for joining us. Special edition Thursday night, the CIF on Riverside TV 8-man action out of the Tri-Valley Premier. CSDR, remember last year, got all the way to the Division II state final. Looking to get back. Story was widespread last year. You know, ESPN, the daytime talk show, the movie being made, got up all the way to the governor's office, who pledged money to upgrade the athletic facilities here at CSDR. The football field, the softball field, baseball, soccer.
Yeah, $43 million.
I see. So we're getting word that was actually already in the works, and now obviously it was publicized more because of that 12-1 run last year for the Cubs. But it's interesting. The location here is great. It's right out on Arlington as you pass the 91, and it would be great. A great venue. I got to call a game a couple years ago at Cathedral, which is in downtown Los Angeles.
Oh, what a great place!
And when you get to Cathedral, in the back, you can see the skyline of downtown LA
cool.
from the end zone. Yeah, so it'd be something not quite like that, but it'd be very cool to be able to kind of drive past and see kind of like a football stadium built here. Timeout with 9:30 to play in the third quarter. There's Desert Chapel. David DeWoody, the head coach, he's not it's their offensive coordinator talking to him, but David DeWoody is the head coach over there at Desert Chapel. A longtime coach here in the Inland Empire, Riverside Christian for many years. Opened the program in Indian Springs.
Yeah, didn't CSDR, the kids got to go out to the coin flip at the
Super Bowl.
That's incredible.
At
right
SoFi, yeah. Second down. Ledane throwing to the corner, and it's a touchdown. Ball caught by Rendon. Second touchdown of the evening for him, Adrian Rendon, the senior. And let's see here, 30-18, will they go for 2? It's still a 2-possession game, whether they kick for 1 or 2. Looks like they're going to stay on for the 2-point conversion.
So a lot different than last year's game where it was,
78-18.
Wow.
CSDR really rolled it on them. Coaches always say that. And I work with 2 guys, Troy Percival and Reggie Theus, who they said, listen, we didn't believe any game bigger than the other. Hey, you need to go out and perform every game. But there's got to be a little bit of an edge when a team beats you that bad when you play them the next time. Just naturally, if you're a human being, psychologically. Ledane throwing. Nice play by Valencia, knocking it away from Shepler. So the 2-point conversion is no good. 30-18 after the touchdown by Rendon. We'll throw it down to Pep Fernandez.
Hey, guys, Alpin, come on over here, and you can help me out here. Quick update, and we just want to jump on real quick because you saw a little pause in the action here. I know you guys are up in the luxury box here at CSDR, but down here on the field, you guys pointed out there's a lot of fans here tonight, and they're all circling the field. Well, the referee paused the game just for a moment to remind everyone, you got to back up. You can't be so close to the field. And, in fact, in the first half, there was, I believe, 4 CSDR moms on the opposite side of the field that he warned, and from what we were told, he even threatened to eject them, and my sources are telling me one of them was Coach Adams' own wife, and we're hoping to get her on for an interview a little bit later on in the broadcast. But the fans love the Cubs. They just can't get too close to the field. Guys, back to you.
O'Reilly. Thanks, Pep. Our white hat, Mike O'Reilly. He must know you're here, Jeff. I know you and he are mortal enemies from your basketball days, and now he's causing trouble for CSDR as the kickoff is being bought back by Gio Visco. Visco 20-25, still on his feet, written down just at the 29-yard line. Shepler on the tackle for Desert Chapel on 1st and 10, CSDR.
Well, it's not the weirdest thing we've seen. In fact, last week we were at Norte Vista, and remember they almost threw out the band. They said, hey, we're going to eject the band out of here.
I mean, it's because maybe people are stunting for the camera, Jeff. Maybe we should kind of back off a little bit. But, yeah, the band almost got ejected last week. We got the moms getting ejected this week. I just think the officials need to learn that people aren't there to see them. Ooh. We've already had one injury today. That was Caden Adams having to leave the game. Here's the option. Trevin Adams running it for CSDR. He gets near midfield. He'll get over midfield. Finally, he's pulled down just as he crosses into Desert Chapel territory. I believe that was Ledane who made the tackle.
A lot of shirts, guys. Man, it's hurting my fingers watching these guys hold on to uniforms. I got to break some fingers out.
That's the second tackle he's made like that, grabbing the jersey. Fumble off the snap. CSDR has had some issues with that. Falling on it this time is Adams, and it'll be 2nd down and 15. Lost back to the 37-yard line of the Cubs. Third quarter. Shepler in there on the defense for Desert Chapel. Here comes pressure. Adams pulls it down. He'll run with it, a flag on the play. He'll get the first down, stumble out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. But let's see what this flag is going to be.
That's going to be holding against CSDR.
Yeah. There's our white hat, Mike O'Reilly, longtime rival of Jeff Gorham. Jeff, you've been very sportsmanlike. You've not said anything nasty about Mike.
Can't say anything nasty about Mike. Look at him.
I know you guys were bitter rivals in your basketball days. So it is holding. He kind of resembles Thomas Wilson, the actor who played Biff Tannen in the Back to the Future movies, if you've watched those films. They're a little old now. Nearly 40 years since they've been released, the first one at least.
You know what's really bad is I was telling my class, hey, what do you guys think of Jordan? And they said, the guy that has shoes.
Wow. Adams, broken play. He's making something out of it. Still on his feet. Finally pushed out of bounds. They might have marked him out of bounds earlier than that. Get another look at it. But let's see what they did. So here's Adams. Drops the ball, frustrated with himself. But then he makes something out of it. Keeps going. It's like when you're a basketball player, they tell you never give up your dribble, right?
I thought he was going to cut in the middle of the field. He had all the hell. Let's see here. Is it getting called back? It is.
I didn't see a flag.
It's hard to see the flag from our VIP setting.
Yeah, we're high atop the Palisade here, right across the street from Arlington Boulevard. So 3 receivers to the near side. Empty set for CSDR here. They lead 30-18. Third quarter. Special Thursday night edition of the CAF on Riverside TV. Gets it to Visco, and Visco's got some space. Cuts back inside near midfield. Another flag coming up. There we go. There's Jeff Gorham waving to y'all. We're kind of here on the high ground, so to speak. We're like Jedis. We have the high ground, Jeff.
Got the little kids throwing dirt below us. I could take care of those guys. Anybody gets above me, I'm in trouble.
The ball moving all the way back. I'm trying to see where the first down marker would be. It's over midfield. It's just to the 28-yard line on the Desert Chapel side of the field. So the line of scrimmage here looks like it's about the 17.
Oh, this is a long.
So it's first and 35 after all those penalties, roughly. Unofficially, we'll say. First down. Adams ready to throw. Launching it complete. Here's Valencia up to about the 33-yard line. So a 15-yard pickup there will make it 2nd and 20. And we saw Jory Valencia's mom earlier. She's the principal of the middle school here at CSDR.
The dad's the athletic director. You can't mess around and screw up at all at school.
Right.
Mom and dad will get you.
And they like him.
Yeah.
You know.
My mom used to work for the school district, and she came into a classroom when I was in high school one time, sat in the back of the room to observe, and I acted a fool, and Mom caught me. I got in big trouble.
Timeout on the field called by the Cubs. So they lead this one 30-18. It's a matchup of unbeatens. Desert Chapel 6-0, 2-0 in league play. The Cubs 7-0, 2-0 in league play. A rematch from last year where CSDR knocked off the Eagles 78-18. And Desert Chapel hanging in there. They need to get a stop here, though. Get a look at the sideline for Desert Chapel. Head coach David DeWoody there. They were a Division II finalist back in 2015. They lost 72-6 against Joshua Springs Christian. That was under head coach Jim Donaldson. They won 8-man Division II championships in 2004, 2005. The first two were under Russell White, your old buddy
Buddy from Cal.
And then Carlisle Linnaeus, who's a longtime coach at Palm Springs, went 12-0 and took them to a CIF title in 2008. So some good history at Desert Chapel. Adams flings it down the field, incomplete.
Russell White, one of the best running backs. I want to say the second best running back I ever saw in person. Remember, and he went into Cal with all that Heisman hype. Didn't quite have the greatest career. I mean, but he was a good solid college career, but one of the best high school running backs I've ever seen.
Didn't he have like a classic game? Didn't Crespi play Fontana at some point in the CIF?
Yeah.
That was one of the years Fontana did. I think Fontana won in 87, 89. I think in 86 they may have lost to Crespi.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they beat Crespi, did win the final. I forget the exact
I think
scenario.
it was 89, actually, because that was the year we both came into high school. In fact, we were roommates in the first summer going in, the first year. Great guy.
3rd and 20 coming up. Adams makes one guy miss, and he'll tuck it up and under, and he'll be close. He got the first down. How about that? Diving at the end of the run, he'll move the sticks.
Oh, they didn't give it to him. Oh, let's see if they did. I don't know if they did. They did not.
Because I guess it's where the knee goes down. But I think the ball was extended before his knee
What a
went
great
down.
effort, though. I mean, that's Superman effort right here. Watch this.
Gets through 2 tackles and dives. Oh, the knee was well before the marker. I don't know why they marked it back there unless he stepped out. So ball over on downs to Desert Christian.
Look at that. Full extension.
So he stepped out. That's what it is. So here's the Eagles coming back the other way, the 28-yard line, and twisting is Ledane. Gets tackled by Jimenez after about a 2-yard pickup. 30-18, so a big stop for the defense for Desert Chapel, and they have an opportunity to make this a one-score game.
It's a normal score here at CSDR. We haven't seen one of these.
Yes, CSDR 30 points all in the first half, and we're nearly halfway through the third quarter. They have not scored. Now, to be fair, they're already playing without Felix Gonzalez, one of their leading rushers. Their leading rusher, as a matter of fact. And then they lost Caden Adams after he hurt his elbow catching a touchdown pass. So they're down a couple of their big offensive players. Connor twisting over the 30-yard line, being tackled. Adams in on the hit.
Got to be tough for Felix not to be here tonight. I'm sure he's watching right now, so we're wishing you health and hope that leg feels better so we can get you back out of here.
Well, I think the most important point is his health.
Yes, exactly.
Going to graduate. And obviously, I know he wants to play. I know the coaches want him back to play, but young fella, take care of yourself, get healthy, and enjoy your senior year. That's the important thing.
Exactly.
So 3rd and 2 coming up. Big third down play for the CSDR defense. Here's Ledane trying that little jump throw. Now he'll throw it off his back foot, down the field, complete inside the 30 for the first down to Rendon.
A little trickery, a little pump fake, and
23-yard pickup moves the sticks, and Desert Chapel knocking on the door now, the 23-yard line. Let's take a look. Leaves his feet. That's illegal in basketball, but in football it's completely okay. And then nice job by Rendon coming back to the ball. Valencia was there, but a little bit underthrown, and a nice play by the receiver.
Able to catch it while he's on the ground. Good job.
So 1st and 10, and check that, it was at the 27-yard line. So a 22-yard pickup. Connor up the middle, battling Figueroa, pulls him down. About 2 yards on the play. And you give credit to the defense of Desert Chapel for adjusting against CSDR after getting lit up early. It's easy to hang your head.
Yeah.
But they stepped up and stayed in this game. They know, hey, we're in a battle for the league title right now.
Come down to the final few minutes of this ball game.
3 minutes left here in the third quarter. And Desert Chapel driving, trying to get a little bit closer as they're down 2 scores right now. Can they make it a 1-score game? Gooding with the give to Ledane, and down he goes. Making the hit down low, Terrazas, Ricardo Terrazas for CSDR. 3rd down.
It's a big play right here. They're going to have to. You know what, though? They're on this side of the field. They're going to go for it, I'm telling you.
Now, of course, I mean, for sure. This
Yeah.
is 4-down territory
Yeah.
for sure for them. And I don't see either team really showing any signs of actually having a field goal kicker. They've all gone for 2 every time. So here we go, that funky formation. 3rd down. Ledane gets through that first line, but he won't get through the second. Mentzner comes up to make the play along with Adams, and it's 4th down. A loss. It'll be 4th and 10.
I like what they did with Menster and Adams. They were really just waiting to see if they had an opportunity. They saw that their guys would cover, so they went right after him.
Yeah, I think Menster's job was to square the quarterback.
Yes.
And as soon as he was square to the QB, here comes Adams. Oh, they gave him progress to the 20. See, I don't understand why they didn't give Adam. Well, I guess Adam stepped out.
Yeah.
They gave him progress to the 25. So here we go. 4th down. Let's say about 8. Ledane to throw another jump throw, and this time they're ready for it. Batted down by Alfredo Baltazar. Ball over on downs to the Cubs. So a defensive stand for Desert Chapel, and the Cubs say, hey, we'll raise your defensive stand and back down this 4th down pass.
You say Baltazar? That's a great name.
Actually, I think that was Metzner that got a piece of it on the blitz.
Remember Baltazar from Battlestar Galactica?
I remember Balthazar Getty in Young Guns 2. Let this boy die like a man. In the video, that's when he dies in the movie. I don't want to spoil it for you, but that's the line in the video. They show Balthazar Getty.
How dare you just ruined a Young Guns
for a whole generation of people who haven't seen it. I'm sorry. Here's the throw for Adams. It's complete. This is Visco getting outside. He's got a lot of space in front of him. Breaks the tackle. Like DoorDash, he's to the house. Touchdown. What would it be? It would be 65 yards.
Is there a flag on the play? They look. Oh,
flag
no.
Sorry, it would have been 55 because from the 25 to the 40 is 15, then 40 more.
A lot more math for us in this
They'll
game.
bring it right back.
What a great play. The freshman. Freshman's like, that's the best run of my career.
So 30 seconds to go until the third quarter ends, and when the third quarter does end, we'll go down to Pep Fernandez. Hey, they bought it back, but it doesn't mean it wasn't a great play.
Watch this.
Trying to set it up. Adams with his feet, looking down the field, and throws it into the seam there. And nice move for Visco to get free. And then he's just kind of looking where his blockers are at. And once he breaks that last line of defense, he's all the way in. But it'll bring it all back after a hold.
He's my favorite freshman in the city of Riverside right now. Visco, that's my guy right there.
It'll come all the way back to the 20-yard line. There's Coach Keith Adams talking to his team. Not sure if he was the one who called timeout or Desert Chapel, but there's a break in the action. After the penalty, they'll go back out on the field. So it'll still be first down.
We had first and 35.
Yeah.
We've had. That doesn't matter. You can make it up.
So first and 10 from midfield. Adams finds Valencia. Valencia breaks one tackle and then out of bounds. 26-yard line, so about a 14-yard pickup.
And a first down.
They'll move the sticks again.
Do you like the matte? Do you like that look, the helmet, the matte look?
I do.
That's pretty sweet. Did you see the new North Carolina football helmets?
I did not.
Oh, wait till you see
they good looking?
Coming out this week.
I know they almost got beat by Georgia Southern, right? No, they played somebody. They played a Sun Belt team. The Sun Belt's been playing pretty well. Been playing some good football. Obviously, the big upset, Marshall, and then Texas A&M got upset. Notre Dame got upset. Marshall went and beat Notre Dame.
That's right.
So we're supposed to do this at the end of the third quarter. There's a timeout. Let's go down to Pep Fernandez.
We are here on the sideline, and she is so sweet. It's Carol Bella Adams, the wife of head coach Keith Adams. Seems like the sweetest lady but from what I heard, she almost got ejected in the first half for being too close to the field. Carol Bella, is that true?
To be honest, I am completely innocent. I was just standing there watching the game. They accused me of being too close, and I took it.
How much fun are you having tonight watching the Cubs win this game? And they're winning right now, but to win a league title tonight.
I just get all these butterflies. It just gets me going. You know, every time they start to catch up, I get, concerned. I don't want to see my son getting hurt. Caden got hurt tonight, so that gets to me as well. You know what it's like being a mom.
So I noticed, obviously, you were getting very close to the field, and you had the game on Riverside TV on your phone. So you were watching the game on your phone, in person, very close to the field. You must really love football.
Oh, yes, I love it. My dad was a big football fan, and so growing up, he got me into it. I always watched football, whether it be college or the NFL. I love watching the games.
All right, we're going to wrap up this interview as the Cubs have a play here with about 17 seconds to go as Trevin Adams airs it deep. Carol Bella, if I can ask you one more question before we let you go. How's the Adams family doing tonight? How's your husband doing, Keith? How's Trevin, of course, your other son? We hope he's doing well. I know he had that shoulder injury, but what do you think of the game so far?
Yeah, I hope he's feeling better, too. But how do I feel about how my husband's doing?
Yeah, Keith, is he doing a good job coaching?
Oh, yeah, he's doing a real good job. He's out there studying the game every night, watching film. Even if it's an off night, he's out there studying and trying to come up with different strategies. He's reaching out to his peers. He takes this very seriously. This is a 24/7 job other than when he sleeps.
It sounds like this is a big football family. All right, guys, Carol Bella Adams, the better half of Keith Adams here, the head football coach for CSDR, and, of course, two sons on the team as the Cubs are trying to wrap up a league championship tonight and stay undefeated. Carol Bella Adams, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. I'm so proud of all those boys. I'm so proud. All right, guys, back to you.
Completion on second down, and that is the end of the third quarter. The ball was complete. Couldn't quite see who it was to, but after an incompletion on first down, a completion that will gain a first down, you see there, they're inside the 10-yard line. It looks like it maybe meant to Metzner. It was again, Adams kind of scrambling and finding the open receiver, and we come to the end of the third quarter. Here's the replay. So here's Adams with the pump fake, and now he's got to dance around a little bit. Oh, he didn't throw. He ran the football, so I thought it was a completion, but instead he ran the football, and he's down there, as you can see, inside not only the 10, down to the 5-yard line. So they'll flip the sides of the field, and CSDR knocking on the door, looking for a little bit of insurance. Desert Chapel, give them credit. They held the Cubs scoreless in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's something I'm sure it hasn't happened all season long. But CSDR, like you said, knocking on the door here to possibly extend this lead.
Great conversation with Pep Fernandez and the better half of head coach Keith Adams and the mom of both Caden and Trevin Adams.
Yeah, if they'd have thrown her out, Coach would have gone over and tackled the ref. How dare you? How dare you? What a wonderful interview, though.
From the 8-yard line.
I think you throw everyone out. There's a lot of people on the field over there.
First and goal, yeah. Stands are full. It's a nice evening, pleasant evening here. Big community support for the Cubs of CSD. I also want to give credit. A lot of Desert Chapel folks made the drive up on a Thursday evening. It's a school night. First and goal.
Let's see what the call is.
I want to say they'll probably do
too much time.
Yeah, I think it's delay. So mark back to the 13-yard line. 5-yard penalty marked off against CSDR. And now more whistles. Another flag comes out.
I don't see the yard markers either. I'm very confused.
And they'll move back 5 more yards. So all the way back to the 18 after 2 5-yard mark-offs against the Cubs. So first and goal, line is the 18.
There we go. Okay, that's why I was very confused there for a moment.
Adams, RPO. Breaks the tackle. Adams, second effort to the 5 and muscles into the end zone. Touchdown. Cubs with a touchdown, the 18-yard run. Second touchdown run from Trevin Adams.
Boy, I thought he got stopped early and just spun out of that one. That's just huge strength right there.
Get another look at it. Starts that way and looks like Najjar and Elkin, 2 big guys, have their hands around him. Aaron Elrin, excuse me, and then he breaks out of them. Those are 2 short tacklers, too, that he broke tackles from. 2-point conversion coming up. 36-18 in favor of the Cubs. Their first score here in the second half. They kick off the fourth quarter with a touchdown. Adams looking to throw. He will throw, and it's a 2-point conversion complete to Jory Valencia. So 38-18, back to a 3-score game in favor of CSDR.
Valencia having himself a great night tonight. Kind of taking over the reins at receiver.
Here's the play again. And breaks the tackle, and then he's off to the races. And then one final chance. Ledane can't bring him down. Well, he can, but not till he's into the end zone. And then here's the 2-point conversion. Valencia just sitting down in the back of the end zone there, bringing it in ahead of Damian Guzman, who's on the coverage. And So 38-18, order restored if you're on the Cubs sideline. Hey, Desert Chapel had an opportunity. They got a couple of great stops on defense.
They did.
But then the Cubs stepped up and kept them out of the end zone.
A lot better, like you said, from last year's score. And Coach Adams told us, hey, they're a much improved team. He said they're big, they're strong, and they can run. And we've seen it tonight. A lot better team than what they had last year, for sure.
Well, with the 38 points tonight, the Cubs have surpassed Desert Chapel. They've given up more points tonight than they have all season. They came into the game tonight having allowed 34 points, but I think they knew this was the big show. This was that big game they had circled on their calendars, the Eagles of Desert Chapel.
Yeah, this is a 1 versus 7 in the CIF rankings?
Yeah, the CSDR is definitely at the top. And that's just a choice, right? They made the choice just to go the two-pointer.
Yeah, and like I said, normally in 8-man football, you don't have enough players to really work on kicking.
That's true. That's a good point.
And so there's normally a lot of onside kicks, so they choose not to.
Right, and the field is 10 yards shorter, or 20 yards shorter. So maybe you don't punt. You go for it on fourth down. The field is shorter, and with the way CSDR plays offense, though, it makes sense.
Yes, in fact, when they played Florida here a couple weeks ago, we called the game. They onside kicked every single time.
Well, it ended up 84-8, something like that.
Oh, yeah, I think they put up like 44 in the first quarter. I mean, it was an impressive display. I mean, everybody was healthy and
they made Florida look like Alderaan, huh?
They did.
Yeah.
They took the battle station, blew it up. So we took care of. I said we did, in the first one we took care of Florida. I think we took care of Indiana. So California now. So we got to go and play all 50 states and mark off a win after each one, and then go over to Puerto Rico and Guam. Take care of those guys.
Maybe you could dip into your largesse and send them to Hawaii next year.
Oh, that'd be great.
Play an 8-man team in Hawaii. How great would that be?
And take care of Hawaii. And go up to Alaska. Take a cruise.
First down, trying to get away is Ledane. And finally, he'll be tackled down inside the 5. You say that's Connor running the ball, and he goes down inside the 5.
Yeah, I want world domination. Once we finish here in the United States, and we go 50-0, then we're going to go over to Europe. We're going to take care of business over there, too.
Ledane with the throw, little comeback route, and Mentzner right on it immediately. And then his buddies all show up to help.
Oh, he had a lot of buddies.
Terrazas, I think, finally made the play along with Adams. Big loss here in the fourth quarter. 38-18, CSDR on top of Desert Chapel. It's a battle for the top of the league in the Tri-Valley Premier. Both these teams came in unbeaten, and the flag comes in. A lot of false starts being called by Mike O'Reilly. So half the distance will take it back to the 3-yard line. Now the clock moves after the penalty. Snap into the end zone for Ledane. Gets around Figueroa. And finally, Adams bumps him out. Just inside the 10-yard line, back at the 8. So we'll get back all that yardage they lost. Third down. Figueroa had a chance to make the safety, but not a great angle. Nice job by Ledane to get out there, and third down coming up.
Have we seen a safety this year? I don't think we've seen a safety yet.
There's been a safety in Riverside TV, maybe not a game that we have done.
You and I have done.
Big third down. Here we go. Ledane looking downfield. He wants it all. Incomplete. It'll be fourth down. believe that's Adrian Rendon. A little slow to kind of get up. Looks like an ankle or maybe a calf. So Lika Visco back on the coverage. Visco is sophomore. And fourth down. At this point, you got to go for it, right, Jeff?
You have to.
Fourth and 13.
Yeah,
and
good.
Ledane will kick it away. They'll down it at the 36-yard line of Desert Chapel, and that's where CSDR will start it. So very much like Ken Batdorf, Keith Adams, nobody back deep on the punts.
Nobody.
Although, to be fair, they didn't set up the punt
They-
there.
yeah.
That was, they took the regular snap there.
We have an update on the score over.
Speaking of Ken Batdorf.
The score is 22-7 with 4 minutes left.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
about
third
what I
quarter.
thought. It's about what I thought. Norte Vista.
Slugfest.
Yeah. You knew Patriot would hang tough, but I think Norte Vista just has too many weapons.
It's 8 guys score 1 week and 6 last week
Yeah.
when we called the game. And we have the big one coming up. What would you call it? Not the Granddaddy. We got to call it something else.
The Tale of Two Kents.
Oh, that's right. The Tale of Two Kents.
Batdorf, Mashinsky. Two worlds.
Collide.
Battle of two worlds. Yeah. A world where people throw the ball and where people don't throw the ball. Here's the completion to Zaremka's. Darius Zaremka makes the catch, the sophomore.
Yeah, some young talent here still.
Both teams. Christian Gooden, also a sophomore, makes the tackle. About a 3-yard gain on the play. Just a quick throw to the out. A nice fundamental play there. Also coming over as Shepler, helping out with the tackle. At this point, if you're CSDR, you're happy to just keep the clock moving.
Yes, exactly. Stay in the middle of the field.
Visco will stay in bounds, get another 5 yards or so. It'll be 3rd and 2 coming up.
My favorite freshman right there with another reception.
Just gets it out of his hands quickly. Adams just playing so well. Rendon made the tackle there. Very interesting experience here, Jeff. Colin, first of all, 8-man football, and then obviously with CSDR, it's a different vibe altogether. Option, Adams, first down. And Adams tackled by Ledane at the 25-yard line.
It is a different vibe, and I implore everybody to come out and watch this. It's really a fun game to watch, and I love covering CSDR. These kids deserve a lot of recognition. I know they're getting it, that they get to hear it from Kelly Clarkson and everyone else you said. But I'll tell you what, it's been my pleasure. This is my 3rd game calling the Cubs, and it's just more fun every time.
You got to call one of their playoff games last year, correct?
I called the championship.
Here's the throw to Visco. Visco inside the 15 stumbles down. Inside the 20, stumbles down to about the 15, very close to a first down.
I want to say there was about 6,000 people at that game.
That was at J-Dub,
yeah.
Right?
And there was standing room only. There was people waiting to get into the game at halftime.
The great community support for CSDR, and hopefully they'll get it again in the playoffs this year. Then have 2 playoff teams playing out of that John W. North field. Visco outside. Visco all the way down to the 5-yard line. Inside the 5, tackled there. Gets out of bounds. They'll mark it at about the 4. So clock stops after the catch by Visco. First down at the 4. It'll be 1st and goal. Reset the chains. And now a timeout. So it looks like Desert Chapel calling timeout will stop the clock with 6:37 to play. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham. Pep Fernandez stalking the sideline. What a great job Pep's done tonight on this one. Very unique presentation of the CIF High School Football Game of the Week. And the Cubs just keep on rolling, Jeff.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'll tell you what, just going back on the Pep's daughter has been taking sign language for a couple of years, and I know Pep enjoys coming to these games and trying to use what he's learned from his great daughter.
I saw that. I saw it, but he was kind of using some sign language before, and he knew "Go Cubs" or he had a maybe next
win Cubs.
Win Cubs. Yeah. Well, next time we go down, he can do the signs. But as far as football goes, hey, this is a team now, Jeff, that's closing in on 20 of 21. That's impressive at any level.
That's crazy. And if you would have asked somebody a couple years ago, hey, CSDR's won 20 of 21, I'm sure a lot of people would have been surprised.
I had read during COVID, I mean, there was a real danger they would stop playing football.
Yeah,
that's why last year was so big for them. Touchdown, Adams. Trevin Adams, third trip to pay dirt, running the ball. 6 more on the board for CSDR.
Yeah, just to think of how many more touchdowns Trevin Adams would have had if they had played his entire 4 years here.
What's interesting is, now I think last year was their first trip to a championship since '68. That's what they're telling us.
Yep.
It's a big gap.
And I'm not sure if it was a CIF championship or what. It was some sort, but that was, I know last year was the first time in the
2-point conversion attempt incomplete. Looking for Zaremka. Defense on the play by Christian Gooding for Desert Chapel. So clock stopped with 6:38 to play here in the fourth quarter. 44-18 CSDR on top of Desert Chapel. Another look at the 2-point convert. Well, here's the drive. Zaremka catching it and being tackled there by Shepler. Here's the swing out to Visco. Nice run by Visco. Great move for him to stay inbounds. And then here's Adams again, getting to the outside. Finally tackled by Ledane. Stays in bounds. Keeps the clock running. And then here's Visco again, getting the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Sets up the 1st and goal. And then here's Adams taking it 1st and goal, and he's to pay dirt. 2-point conversion, not successful, but a 44-18 comfortable lead here with 6:38 to play in the fourth quarter. So sense of urgency for Desert Chapel here. Can they pull off a major miracle? Now listen, they've thrown the ball deep a bunch of times. They've gone for it all. So if they can get one of those, maybe get some momentum back here after this drive. Ricardo Rios with the kickoff. The return comes out to the 28-yard line. I believe that was Rendon bringing it out. Tackle on the play by Darius Zaremka. So here you go, Desert Chapel. 1st and 10, trying to get themselves back into this one from the 28-yard line. Dalen Connor goes down. Among the tacklers, Trevin Adams. How about Trevin Adams, a quarterback still out there playing on defense?
Man, he's been all over the place. The guy's got to be in great shape.
Doesn't want to leave the field. We mentioned Desert Chapel, 16 listed on their roster, 27 suited up for CSDR.
I'm curious if they have JV and freshman teams, or they just play one.
That's a good point, yes.
I assume they probably just have a varsity schedule.
Dominic Turner ran in for CSDR. This is Ledane taking the handoff. And he runs right into Adams. Figueroa also there for the Cubs. Clock continues to move. There's Adams getting up from the bottom of the pile. Terrazas along with Dominic Turner, the junior. Look at the play. Nice kind of move inside before Adams shows up. So clock ticking away. I guess Desert Chapel is kind of just waiting for the inevitability here of this one ending. They're down by 18. Doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency for them. Now, remember, they don't want to also get anybody hurt.
No.
That's the other aspect of it, because they still have very good prospects going forth in the postseason. And I guess their best hope is, hey, let's get a shot at these guys again in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what could happen here. But like you said, nobody gets hurt. When you have 16 guys, you got to be careful.
Under 5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Connor off the handoff will throw the ball down the field. Maybe not. Rendon one-on-one coverage with Valencia incomplete. Clock stops at 4:39 on the incomplete pass. He had a couple of touchdown receptions on the game. Adrian Rendon coming in. Kind of their deep threat. Pressure coming from Alfredo Baltazar, the sophomore. Well, everybody loves an encore. Everybody loves a rematch, right?
Yes, they do. And this was really a good one. I mean, a lot better. Wait, 18? Is that what they scored last year?
Yeah.
So they've.
But CSDR scored 78.
That's right.
So they're down. So Wildcat direct snap to Connor, who will launch it down the field, and nearly picked off. Wow.
Did you catch that? That was a.
Ledane got down the field.
Oh.
One-on-one coverage there with Valencia.
I couldn't see if he caught it or not. He threw it a mile up there.
Another look at it.
No, he's. Oh, got it off the bounce.
So CSDR 44-18 up on Desert Chapel, the battle for first place in the Tri-County Premier League. California School of the Deaf came in averaging nearly 63 points per game. The Eagles came in averaging over 51 points per game. Neither of them are going to get close to their averages. Ball over on downs to CSDR. Here's the handoff to Raza. Shooting down the field, and he'll keep the clock moving. Terrazas, a running back and a top player on the defensive side, is a Eagle player down on the field. Terrazas kind of diving down. Clock stopped here for the injury.
Hopefully he's okay here.
While the injury taking place, we'll go to Pep Fernandez on the sideline.
Hey, Jeff and Gonzalo, you know, the writing has been on the wall for a long time that this CSDR football team was going to be really good, especially this class. We've got Nancy Moore. She is the athletic director for the elementary and middle schools here at CSDR, and she was telling us that when this team was in middle school, they were also undefeated, so they knew this team was going to be very good at the high school level. Nancy, you're not surprised about how good this Cubs team really is, right?
No, yes, exactly. Most of the seniors started playing in elementary school, and that same crew played all through middle school. They were 9-0, they were league champs, and now here they are playing the high school level, and look at the results we have. It's so amazing. It's last year, this year we're going all the way. I am not surprised.
And Nancy, real quick, it's pretty much all the same kids for the most part?
Yeah, pretty much all the same kids, yeah. Exact the same kids, yeah. You know, resulting from them playing together all those years.
Yeah, that is so cool. We're going to wrap this up because we know, Nancy, that the referees are being very strict right now. We're right next to the officials. So, Ghazal, Jeff, back to you guys.
Thanks, Pep. The young man, Christian Gooding, was the injured player for Desert Chapel. Walked off under his own power. Always good to see. First down, and here's the give. And right up the middle, smashing and still on his feet, tackled down inside the 5-yard line. That was Ricardo Terrazas. Rendon in on the hit, along with Ledane for Desert Chapel. Clock continues to move. That's always great. You know, you hear all these stories as you look at the Terrazas run. Rendon, the first man there, and Ledane helping him down. You hear about, transfers, this, that, and the other. How about not only all through high school, but from elementary school to middle school all the way to the high school. And I'm sure awesome. Desert Chapel is very similar because they're at K-12 school as well.
I mean, that is a great story and great memories for these young boys and young men. It's just a great setup here.
Terrazas into the end zone for the touchdown, extends the ball over the goal line as Shepler brings him down. Another score for the Cubs.
Continuing their dominance here. Didn't score in the third, but put up a few here.
Yeah,
in the fourth.
Third touchdown here in the fourth quarter. And the 2-point conversion coming up. I do want to point out also, Desert Chapel, give you an idea, they're also a K-12 school.
Yep.
It's about 200 students. We mentioned their football roster that was published, only 16 players. So that's a pretty good accomplishment for them to be 6-0 thus far in the season. But they had a graduating class last year, Jeff, of 7 pupils.
What?
That's pretty cool.
7.
That means you really know each other really well.
That means, hey, your 20-year reunion, you better hope all 7 are still around. Wow, that's an amazing stat right there.
So Gio Visco will play the quarterback here on the 2-point conversion. Well, what I say is you can't be more than 6 from valedictorian.
That's true. Hey, I was in the top 10.
That's the top 7. Yeah, that was the top 7. I missed valedictorian. I missed by 6 spots. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So a delay penalty will back it off for CSDR. But no, you like the, we talked about the community and intimacy at a school like CSDR for a variety of reasons, but
yeah.
Desert Chapel trying to make that same kind of educational experience for all their students from K through 12, and their sports programs obviously are a big part of that. PAT attempt coming up for CSDR. Visco at the controls. The young freshman in a little bit of trouble, shovels it off to Terrazas, and the ball is fumbled and it's incomplete, so it'll be 2-point conversion fails, but they're still up 50-18. Somebody looks like they're slow to get up. So break for an injury here. Now, no time runs on a PAT, so it's actually 3:09 to go here with CSDR leading 50-18.
Hopefully he can get up here.
Yeah, Keith Adams didn't look happy. Kind of signaled to the Desert Chapel Eagles. Nice to see kind of the player moving his hands and talking to everybody around him. He'll be helped to his feet. The young man, Christian Jimenez, playing both ways. He's one of the linemen on offense and one of the defensive linemen on defense. So kind of walking off under his own power. That's good to see. He'll go back to the CSDR sideline. His team up 50-18, Jeff, about to win their 8th game in a row and 20th of their last 21.
That's not a bad clip.
So the kickoff coming. Nice job handling the kickoffs tonight by Richard Rios. Coming in, 40% of his kicks went for touchbacks. So doing the job for the special teams for the Cubs of CSDR. Priming for another playoff run. Head coach Keith Adams doing a great job. It was great to meet him before the game, Jeff. I know you're a big fan of Coach Adams.
I want to hang out with him. I want to pick his brain, and hear how he coaches. I want to hear how he works with the student athletes, and I want to hear about his family.
As DJ Khaled would say, and another touchback.
Exactly.
For Richard Rios. And we'll set it up at the 15-yard line. The Cubs wrapping this one up. They're up big here in the fourth quarter. Nice job. Desert Chapel, Jeff, kept it close in the third quarter defensively, but eventually an offense as explosive as the Cubs, particularly with the young man playing quarterback, Trevin Adams, you knew they were going to find their footing.
Yeah, I mean, they're just too good offensively. I mean, their defense is their offense. They outscore you by as many as they possibly can, and you knew, like you said, it would be a matter of time before they would figure it out, even without a few of their big superstars.
The big lesson you learned tonight when you're at Desert Chapel is when you're playing an explosive team, even when you're stopping them, if you're not scoring on the other end,
you have to.
It's so tough. You can't just stop them. You got to score as well. And they stopped them a couple of times, and then the Cubs defense stepped up and made some plays as flags fly. Mike O'Reilly will call the false start on Desert Chapel. Very interesting outing tonight for us in terms of, different vantage point here, different style of game under the lights here. It was nice to see the lights out here.
And we'll be back out tomorrow night.
We'll be at the Doghouse tomorrow. Connor back there, and Figueroa trying to ride him down. Connor, a big tough guy, will get up to about the 12-yard line.
Now Connor's down.
David Figueroa had him wrapped up, but Connor dragged him for a couple of yards. Dalen Connor, the senior. So Figueroa's got him at the 5, and down about 7 yards, he gets after the point of contact.
This might.
So Connor a little bit slow to get up. We've had a lot of late injuries here in this one.
This might be where if you're referees and your coaches, you say, hey, let's run this clock out so we don't have any more injuries.
And that's the tough thing, right? You have limited rosters on both teams, and they're playing both ways. Connor, for sure, he's been playing offense, defense on both sides. Kind of one of the Iron Men.
I think he has a leg injury, which could really hurt them. So,
he'll rise to his feet, and he's going to, you always say it's nice, and he's going to walk off. He doesn't want any help. I would guess we won't see him again.
If I'm the referees, I'm running this clock.
So they mark it to the 13. So under 3 minutes to play, clock moving. Second down. CSDR building on that story they started last year and would like nothing better than to get back to the final.
You got to finish the movie with a win. The championship.
You don't have to. Bad News Bears, great movie, doesn't end with a win.
That's true. That's true.
A little more cursing, but you didn't end with a win. Here comes the pressure. Ledane trying to get away, and he's submarined down by his counterpart, Trevin Adams. One quarterback tackles the other. That'll be third down. Under 2 minutes to play. That long snap, the pressure coming from Xavier Gardner, and then Adams finishing it off for CSDR. So clock dwindling down for Desert Chapel, who made a game of it in the first half, and then in the third quarter at least, their defense stepped up, but couldn't put any points on the board, and then eventually you knew the offense for the Cubs was going to make it happen. Ledane again. This is Baltazar bringing him down at the 10-yard line. Another loss. ticking down towards a minute remaining. Now we're under a minute to play here in the fourth quarter with the clock moving. Baltazar with a big play for CSDR.
So do you like in basketball when you win the league championship, do you tear down the nets, you tear down the goalposts? I don't think we do that here at CSDR.
Well, I mean, it's not official yet, right? I've said extensive because I think they got a league. They got 1 or 2 games left, but these are the 2 best teams in the league.
Yeah, they are, and nobody's going to beat the Cubs this year. Nobody. I'm calling it out. I called it last year with Arlington. I'm calling it out now. CSDR is going to win it.
So Cubs, you say they're going all the way to the final.
All the way.
Maybe we'll have them again on Riverside TV. Delay a game. Ball moves back 5 yards. 29 seconds remaining. And they'll wind the clock and at least just snap it one more time. And maybe the refs didn't do it, but the teams certainly. Desert Chapel said, you know what? We don't want to get anybody else hurt. So 8 seconds to play, and they'll just let it run out. And that's it. Clock shows 0, and that's the game, 50-18. CSDR with a win. A big first half for them. Desert Chapel made it a little bit more interesting in the third quarter, but in the end, it was the explosive offense of the Cubs. Really hard to hold down, Jeff. They come in averaging 63 points, so you give Desert Chapel a tip of the cap for holding them to 10 points, 12 points below their season average, but still put up 50.
Yeah, but the big-time players, Trevin Adams, the senior captain, was phenomenal. And then, of course, you had the freshman Visco, who's, came into his own tonight and took up the slack. Next man up, and they really took care of business here, on senior night at CSDR.
Yeah, Gio Visco, he's a young freshman, but Jory Valencia is senior.
Yes.
Cody Metzner is senior. They did a great job, and the big guys up front of the offensive line, Christian Jimenez, he's a senior as well. Alfredo Baltazar, just a sophomore, doing a nice job up front. And CSDR comes away with a 50-18 victory. Of course, Riley Ledane and Dalen Connor for Desert Chapel. Blake Shepler, we called his name a lot. Adrian Rendon played really well for them as well, but ultimately not enough as the Cubs of CSDR with a 50-18 victory. We're awaiting Pep Fernandez, waiting to see him ready on the field for a post-game interview. But interesting night of 8-man football, and the Cubs just keep on rolling now, Jeff. 20 of 21. Their only loss was in the Division II state final last year.
And I'll tell you what, they, like I said, the beginning of this year it was unfinished business, and that has been the mantra for the Cubs all season long as they continue their dominance, and hopefully they can bring it back.
Great scene down on the field with the community kind of coming up around the team, and we'll send it down to Pep Fernandez. He's got head coach Keith Adams.
Hey guys, we certainly do. League championship for CSDR here, the Tri-County Premier League. Coach, congratulations on the league championship. How good does it feel tonight?
It's going to be a good game, very physical. We watched them on video. I wanted to see it. They hit. It's going to be a brutal game. So we won. A lot of mental mistakes, but of course we won. So that's good.
Long run, that's going to help you guys in terms of getting ready for the playoffs, seeing a good team tonight.
Yeah, they use zone a lot. A lot of teams use man-to-man, so they use zone a lot. And so that kind of helped us to get ready for zone defense, so it was definitely good.
Hopefully Caden's good to go, right, for the playoffs and healthy and ready to contribute?
Yeah, we got to look at that. We got to rest him. Good thing we have a bye next week. 2 weeks is our last game, so hopefully he'll be ready for the playoffs.
All right, Coach, congratulations. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. All right, that is Keith Adams. League championship tonight here at CSDR. His team awaiting him on the field after a big win tonight against Desert Chapel. Gazal, Jeff, back up to you guys.
Not only is Pep Fernandez great along the sideline getting information, but how about him breaking out the sign language?
I love it. He's fantastic. He is a man. He is every man.
Pep Fernandez, great job. And obviously Keith Adams, kudos to him and his Cubs of CSDR. Final thoughts, Jeff Gorham.
Hey, they have a week off, and then they have their final game of the season for their tune-up for what they've been going for is that championship, and I hope and wish them the best as they get going here into the playoffs.
Well, the final here from the California School of the Deaf in the city of Riverside, CSDR 50, Desert Chapel 18. For Jeff Gorham and Pep Fernandez, our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew. My name's Ghazal Hassan. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes.
John W. North in Temescal Canyon. Until then, so long, everybody.